Pathfinder Kingmaker is an uneven experience for me. There are times when it glows and other times, like a jewel, it only glimmers if you rotate it to catch the light. The first experience with the game was a positive one at first. The lore was deep and I looked forward to the kingdom making mechanics and the quests that might arise from the ensuing political intrigue, but at some point around the 1/4 mark of the game I just stopped playing. I didn't know why at first. There just wasn't anything pulling me back into the game. Then I came back to it for this review, and suddenly all of the glaring problems came right to the forefront and really called attention to themselves. I suddenly found that, unlike my other reviews, I couldn't get away with only recording footage when something important happened or write about a specific system that I found either lacking or brilliant. Instead, I found that I needed to record everything, because I found myself complaining long and often about so many choices that the design team at Owlcat made. I'm sure the Owlcat team are wonderful people, please don't at me. Everything from UI complaints, lack of quality of life mechanics, to downright broken quests and journal entries that straight up lie to you. The first 20 hours of this game was an exercise in tedium and frustration. All that changed, however, sometime around the 30-hour mark, and it was a genuine revelation. So, in order to communicate what I found in the most thorough and fair way possible, this video will be different from previous videos. The video will be broken up into categories at first, like my other videos. I'll be talking about the individual parts of the game that I liked and didn't like. But the way I will do that will be drastically different. There is no script for this. These are my genuine reactions and surprise and frustrations that I experienced as I experienced them. I found that this lent a sort of narrative to my usual review format, in that you can track how the character arc of the game evolved from frustrating and confusing to wonderful as a story. Once the story section of the video has begun, this is where spoilers come in, and if you haven't played the game, you really want to tune out. Unless you never plan on playing a game and just come here because my monotone voice helps put you to sleep at night. Well, I'll tell you what, this will be the perfect video for that, as it is going to be a long video, because there is just so much to talk about here. I know that there's a lot of negatives to talk about in this video, and if you really enjoyed this game, I urge you to just hang in there, because eventually all the right decisions the designers made with this game start to shine through for very specific reasons, which I will go into in detail. So strap in, and strap on, folks, because I'm giving this game the ol' in out. Let's dig in, shall we? Let's start with dialogue choices first. Okay, now this is a very special conversation right here. So in this conversation, you have a bunch of different choices, and obviously Tartuccio is trying to frame you for something, right? So you have all of these diplomacy checks that you have to make in order for people to actually believe that you're not the spy, which is fine, except for that one. That one allows you to, use common sense instead of a skill check, right? And that's great. Like, if you never put on the ring, you're fine, right? This one is not that great.
He forced us to break into the armory and rob it.
Now, here's the thing about this. I didn't rob the fucking armory. I couldn't get through the next door without a key. You can't get through the next door without a key, so there was no other way around that situation. You can't even pick lock it, which is stupid as shit. I had to break into that armory, right, in order to make this dialogue appear, right? So this is another case of the developer forcing the scripted series of events to happen and not allowing the player's ingenuity to rule the day. Now I only have two choices here. Forgive me my trespass and my defense. We were in the middle of a battle and in dire need of weapons. And the second one, we were in the middle of battle and needed weapons. There was no time to run and ask for permission. Now, did you notice that both of those dialogue choices mean the same thing? The only thing I took out of that armory was a key. Why isn't there an option to say, I didn't take anything out of that armory or rob it, all I took was the key to open the door? It's because they want you to do this diplomacy check. And it's kind of stupid, because there's a chance you can actually fail this when you didn't steal anything at all. Like, you took great care to not steal anything, and you still get screwed. And if I don't succeed, here's what happens. If I don't succeed, I don't get the tank. So if I'm any other class in the game that isn't a tank, I am not going to have a tank. I'm going to have a barbarian, which isn't the same as a tank, okay? She dies pretty fast on normal difficulty, sometimes before you can even do anything. I say, people were dying in front of me, how could I just walk by? That's the way I would react. because that's like ridiculous, right? It's patently ridiculous on its face. But if you fail that, she's like, yeah, that does seem pretty suspicious. Oh, well, that's weird. And actually, I just realized why they make you make these choices. These choices actually determine who in this group is going to be coming along with you and who isn't, because they don't want to give you a full group up front. They don't want Tartuccio to have to go out there by himself. Doesn't make any sense. Then they don't want you to have a big full group of 6 people right out the gate. They want you to have to build your group and all that stuff, which is fine. But there was another way to do this. They could have made it so that I could have said, yeah, I didn't steal anything, so I don't know what this dude's talking about. I just took the key so I could open the door. And then Valerie would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. But then the other people would have been like, what? You didn't steal anything? Why? That sounds stupid. You should have taken stuff to defend yourself. So no matter what you did, you would still only get Valerie as a tank, because if you need a tank, your only choice in this situation is to keep reloading this dialogue until you get the tank. The side benefit of doing things this way is that you're signaling to the player that the world will react to your actions, right? So if I went through that entire part of the game without stealing anything from the armory, what it tells me as a player is that people will take notice of what I do, and it might influence the way I play the game from there on out. But in this way, it just tells me the opposite, that the NPCs will not acknowledge what I've done. So I could basically do whatever the hell I want, and alignment doesn't matter. It's actually doing the opposite of what the designers intended. So there's a bunch of different options, and none of them are totally right for a lawful good character. But in this one instance that I've seen so far, it actually has something that's based on my religion, which is great. So I really like that. So I want to point out something here. When we first met the Technic League, the lawful good option was not even have a conversation with the people and try to avoid bloodshed. It was immediately to attack. And now the neutral good option is to spare her life. I'm really not understanding this whatsoever. Lawful good is okay with murder, but neutral good, I'll spare her life. Which it should be. I mean, a good character should always spare their lives. That's what they do. Unfortunately, I'm just not sure why it is that a lawful good character would try to attack first and ask questions later. That doesn't seem like a lawful or a good option. And let me try to explain more about what my mind frame was here. A lawful good character will always try to solve something without conflict, right? That's my thinking, but a lawful character always obeys the law. And in Numeria, slavery is legal. While Numeria may have little in the way of laws surrounding slavery, it's ostensibly legal by the fact that the various slave guilds operating in the region are too powerful to stop. In the stolen lands where laws are essentially set by you, the new baron, it is lawless, untamed land. So in that same vein of role-playing, if I am setting the laws, then I should be able to determine what is right and what is wrong in my lands. If I want to arrest slavers for setting up shop in my lands or execute them, I should be able to do that. But giving no quarter to slavers and attacking all of them on first sight, or not even being able to try and talk to them, or not even being able to try to talk sense into them, seems to limit my role-playing options. Granted, at this point I'm not the Baron yet, so I only have the moral compass of my character to go on. If the game is telling me outright that attacking another living being before trying any other means is a lawful good action explicitly, then doesn't that change my perception of lawful good and by its extension, my definition of all other alignments as well? It's not that I think that lawful good won't try to kill somebody that's evil whenever it can. In certain cases it absolutely will. Take, for example, a paladin and a demon, or an angel versus a devil, or a cleric versus necromancer. A paladin may not even try to talk to a demon lest he be swayed by their wicked ways, but when a game presents me with a chance to do so, I always take it because it is interesting to me to think that I might be able to sway that demon from any action, even if I can't possibly do so, or that the demon might sway me in some way. I also don't believe that alignment is prescriptive, because it is in fact more descriptive, and a lawful good character may do some evil things. But by labeling so much of the dialogue as alignment choices, you are prescribing roles to those alignments and defining them concretely. It is like the dialogue is constantly judging you for making a choice that should be more about the personality of the character rather than their morality. I also found that when the options were labeled by alignment, I paid more attention to the alignment label than to the dialogue itself, because as a paladin, I didn't want to lose the voice of my god. If you were to drop labels from the dialogue, that would be even worse for alignment-specific characters because some of the morality shifts are downright ludicrous, and your alignment would shift without you knowing why. I believe this is the main reason why most games don't do this type of shifting of alignment and only use those shifts sparingly in dialogue, and when they do, those shifts are sometimes very drastic. They can get away with that in Baldur's Gate because the shifts weren't as numerous when compared to Pathfinder, and when you picked an evil-aligned option, you fucking knew it. That's because the writing and the intent of the writer was clear. This actually touches on another point that I was thinking about just now, that every time I say something, it says I've performed a lawful good action. Well, okay, but just saying things doesn't mean you've done anything. Your actions are what matter. This I totally don't agree with anyway. I think that might be at the root of what my problem actually is with this dialogue, is that saying a thing does not make you a thing. Doing a thing makes you who you are. So this whole alignment system here that they're trying to do just doesn't make any sense to me. Because how is it that I can free everybody and then still be a lawful evil character just because I said something that was lawful evil? Like, what if I'm saying things I don't mean? I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do it that way. If I perform a lawful evil action, like I actually do a thing that's lawful evil, that's another story. But most of the time, it's just me saying things, and therefore, I'm that person because I said it. People aren't usually what they say they are, they're usually what they do. And that's sort of the problem with evil, is because evil characters usually say good things a lot so that they can get what they want out of you. Let's think about role-playing as what it actually is, right? Let's say I'm role-playing an evil mage wannabe, an Alakir in the Red Wizards of Thay. Alakir is, of course, the lowest of the low in that guild. And he has to pretend that he's evil, but all of his actions speak to his actual intent. So he says a lot of evil things, he's kind of a dick, nobody likes him, nobody wants to be around him, but when it comes to actually taking an evil action, he just can't bring himself to do it. At his very heart of hearts, he's a good person. That's a character. And unfortunately, a system like this, where the only thing that matters is what you say, actively prevents you from role-playing any kind of character with nuance. Let's take a look at combat next. Alright, so we're on this fight again. I restarted the game with a paladin, and I put the game on a little bit easier. The reason I had to reduce the difficulty is two reasons here. One was my party composition was really bad. So I started a thief. I only had the one tank, the barbarian, and Lindsay. So I didn't have a real healer on my team to heal the damage that I'd be taking. And since I wasn't a tank, I didn't have enough people to soak up damage. Plus, the guy kept fearing my only tank. So that immediately meant that everybody on my team would get team wiped. So I had to restart the game completely with a paladin. I didn't make it so that criticals kill you in one fucking hit. So we're gonna see if this fight goes any better this time around. Again, that doesn't seem like a lawful good action. As you can see, the combat hasn't gotten much more difficult. I literally haven't had to heal or really do anything, or take any kind of care. And this is just on normal difficulty. And before, normal difficulty was like kicking the shit out of me. Especially in the early game, like, it's very difficult because of the encounters, but now it's just kind of like a joke. And part of that, I have a feeling, is because of the fact that highly valuable, very powerful items are available in the very first town that you go to. The fact that one of my guys has on full plate +1, that's ridiculous. He has a belt of giant strength, a ring that gives him a +1 to his armor, a cloak of resistance, and I believe I am also wielding a heavy shield +1. My AC right now is 26. There's not many enemies at my level that are going to be able to hit me. Like, my two main tanks are just ridiculously evasive. I'd have to put the difficulty up to, like, hard in order for this combat to be challenging. Yeah, normal difficulty is not what I would imagine normal difficulty would be. And that's sort of why when I'm running D&D campaigns, I'm very careful
careful about the stuff that people can buy. I'm very careful about it. Like when they're in town, I tell them up front, I'm like, there's certain things you're going to be able to buy and certain things you're not going to be able to buy. Some DMs are much less conservative about that. They're like, oh, you want full plate armor? Okay, do you have the money for it? Cool, go ahead. No, it shouldn't be that way. Like if your characters somehow have a shitload of money and they're able to buy the best type of armor that they could possibly buy, you shouldn't let them do that. Absolutely shouldn't let them do that, because you're going to throw the whole game's balance out of whack. Also want to comment on that a bit. Now, what I mean by that is you're going to throw the balance out, yes, but you shouldn't prevent them from being able to get it. But getting items like that, full plate armor +1, +2, +3, those things should be very difficult to get. Like you should have to do a quest to get stuff like that. Like you should have to go find a really good expert armor maker. He's a hermit and he lives by himself in the mountains and it's really difficult to get there. That's what I mean about preventing players from just being able to buy whatever the hell they want, because the side effect is that the things that they end up getting end up just not feeling all that good. They just end up feeling like, okay, yeah, cool, I just got some plate mail +3, cool. Because it's so widely available. You can get it at a fucking grocery store. Like, you can get it at Oleg's Tavern. Like, that's ridiculous. In economics, supply and demand is what determines what prices are. In our brains, we're tying the value of something that we get to its rarity. Is it hard to get? Is it rare? Is it one of a kind? These are all important things. This game does none of that. What you're doing to your game's balance is you're making it so that the enemies later on have to get so ridiculous. You're just throwing balance out the window. So in my opinion, just like how Baldur's Gate handled it, you don't get access to that kind of stuff till very late in the game. Money-wise, economy-wise, they balanced that game pretty well. It was very difficult for you to afford that kind of stuff early on. Buying any of that kind of stuff was a huge investment that you weren't willing to make that early on. Now, we might actually be challenged here. All right, I'm actually having to open up my spell book now. Alright, that was a little disappointing. Here we go. Now we're gonna have a fight. Let's sleep some motherfuckers, shall we? Oh, shit. Well, there goes our healer. Oh, shit. Alright, here we go. I guess her spell failed. Awesome. God damn. Okay, yeah, this is pretty fucking tough right here, man. Go ahead and see if we can wake up this dude. God damn, he just got like unlimited fireballs or what? Lindsay, why are you going up there? What the fuck? Oh my god. Alright. That's fantastic, thanks. Cool. I don't understand. What the fuck just happened just now? So he did 8 and then 16 a harem immediately. Cool. That's fantastic, thanks. Here I was fucking complaining about difficulty, and now it's like way too fucking difficult. By like a lot. He ain't laying on his own fucking hands. Let's go, dude. Why aren't you laying on hands self? Look, he ain't doing God damn it, dude. That's fucking worthless. Alright, well, we're dead. There's literally nothing we could do at this point. Alright, so we're gonna try this fight again now that I know there's a bunch of shit in there that is fucking hidden from view. Why is she not in the shadows? Why are you not in the shadows? Hello? 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 Give me some kind of feedback. Tell me why. Tell me why she can't be in the shadows. What the fuck? So what you just saw there was 2 different examples of the game not giving you feedback when something isn't working and the player wouldn't possibly know why. The first one was the lay on hands self. What the game doesn't tell you is that, or at least it doesn't tell you in a way that I saw, is that you have to right click that option to make it an auto spell, which means that it will be used every time a certain condition is met, right? So sometimes you do that with other spells, like I want to use this spell every round, but you wouldn't think that you would want to use a self-heal on yourself every single round. Literally the only way I was able to get that spell to kick off was to right-click it and have it go off when it wanted to. Unfortunately, the only experience I have with that is by using that to automatically cast certain spells, like spells that fire off every round and don't have conditions.
so it's confusing at best. So I felt like I wasn't in control of when that spell actually went off or not. The second thing you saw there was that my mage was not able to go stealth because she was already seen. But the problem is the game wasn't telling me that was why. So it just left me to my own devices with that. This game suffers from just not having so many basic quality of life things in the game that would have made learning how to play the game so much easier, but they're just completely missing.
Man, it's so annoying. The fucking spells like heal 1d4 fucking damage or something. It's like every time I heal people, it doesn't do anything. It just it barely keeps them alive. Oh my god, this guy with his fucking bombs. Especially since this is a video game and not a pen and paper game where the DM realizes, oh, you know, this encounter has too many enemies, I'll take one or two away from it, you know what I mean? In a video game, they're not really doing that, and the difficulty spikes can get out of control if the encounters are not tailored towards the area and the level that the people might be in. Especially when you have such swings in difficulty between one level to the next, it's really hard to balance. Now I've changed the difficulty to easy, and let's see how this goes. Wow.
We shall overcome.
That happened a lot quicker, didn't it? And that bomb's not doing anywhere near as much damage. That was a whole lot easier, not even comparably. That actually seemed a little more reasonable, but maybe a little too easy, because I didn't even really have to think. I only had to stop combat maybe once or twice to actually, you know, change my tactics.
And that's one of the general complaints that I have about the combat, is that one level of difficulty to the next level of difficulty is not even comparable to one another. So, for instance, when you switch from normal to challenging, which is the basic rules of the Pathfinder game, you get this huge swing in difficulty because now they're not doing weak critical hits, they're doing full-on critical hits, which means that you can die with a single hit if they get a critical. Now, granted, that's the way it is in pen and paper as well. The problem is that pen and paper, though it has all those rules, the DM never puts you against something, unless they're dicks. They never put you against something that you can't possibly win against. But this game all too often does that because it's a video game. And that's why you need to be able to tailor the rules a lot more granularly. And it's not enough to have a damage slider, because decreasing the enemy's damage to a point ends up being so that you don't get hit at all. Like when you do get hit, you get 1 point of damage. That's nothing. For instance, I did a run on stream with the challenging difficulty, and in the Elk Temple, there is a boar that you have to fight. That boar can do 2d12 of damage to your level 2 characters, which means that if he criticals you, he doesn't put you on death's door, he kills you outright. The game's balance is not a matter of the rules not being adapted very well to the video game. It's the fact that the encounters are so out of whack, and the counters do not scale at all to your level. So therefore, you're walking into a place that maybe the designers didn't think you would walk into that early, and because of that, you just get wrecked by monsters that have no right being as strong as they are for your level. In a lot of CRPGs, what you'll see is that the level designers, when they're designing main areas, like main mission areas, they'll scale them a little bit lower to a level that's a little more reasonable. So I think that the way they balance a lot of the levels in the early game is that they balance them for around the level that you're going to be on. But because those areas follow in a sequence, it's really easy to balance them. So in this game, all of this area opens up to you, and it makes it really difficult to balance all of these random encounters that you can run into in these areas that open up as you explore. And because of that, and because you could do the story out of sequence, which brings other problems with it, which I'll go into in the story section, it made it very hard for Paizo to actually balance those encounters. You'll never hear me say this any other time, But this is one of those occasions where auto-balancing an encounter to a player's level would have come in handy. And you don't even have to match their level, you just have to get it within 1 or 2 levels of their character level. That way the encounter's still really challenging, but it's not just like one-shotting you all the time. And it would be even better if the difficulty level decided what the scaling would be. So instead of having damage sliders, criticals, all that stuff, you could actually just control the difficulty of the game by controlling how much the enemies scale to the level of the player. So for instance, if you're playing on challenging difficulty, there's no scaling. If you're playing on normal, there's slight scaling. And if you're playing on easy, it scales all the way down to your level. And to be honest, Paizo may have actually done that, but like so many other things in this game, there's so many UX problems. There is a difficulty for how combat plays out. I believe it's enemy difficulty, and it'll say easier enemies, somewhat easier enemies, normal enemies, things like that. But that doesn't tell me that they're scaling to my level. That just tells me that they're going to be easier to kill. And quite frankly, when you put that thing on somewhat easier enemies, it scales their damage down a lot. And then you take into account the fact that they do even less damage with the slider, you could very easily make this game way too easy. And the problem is it's very difficult to find a good middle ground of challenging but fair with the tools that they provide. Mainly because you never know what any given option is actually trying to tell you because of, again, bad UX decisions. And speaking of speechless, let's look at the economy and the stat bloat that comes from it. Since we got back from the Stag Lord's Castle, we got a ton of shit, right? So we're going to go ahead and sell off all this gear because we have no use for any of it. Now, with all that stuff sold, I just made 10,884 frickin' gold coins. I am a level 4 and I have 22,000 gold. Now, I want to do an experiment real quick because Kane has played Pathfinder and D&D for a long time now, and I want to ask him a question because I can't say for a fact that I am all that knowledgeable about 5e or any of this stuff that's new, okay? So, I just want to ask a question real quick. What level would you need to be in order to have been given 22,000 gold coins? What level do you think is appropriate for that amount of gold?
In one encounter?
No, I just mean in general. Like, how long do you think it would take you in a game to amass 22,000 gold pieces?
10.
Level 10, really? Okay. So, I'm level 4. He's giving me this scrunched up face look. Huh?
Interesting. The shit like full plate is 10,000 gold.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because here's a funny thing. Full plate plus 1 is only 2,600 gold.
Hold the fucking phone here.
He just walked away. He's getting the books now. He's getting the Pathfinder books. He's like cussing. I'm glad he's having the same reaction that I am right now. This economy is out of fucking whack. So in Pathfinder, I have my big book of Pathfinder here, the core rule book, right? And in the core rule book, it says heavy armor, full plate is 1,500 gold. Plus 1, I don't know what that would be. Like, I would make that like 8,000 gold.
That would have to be something you work towards.
Like, yeah, you would have to be like really busting your ass. And even 1,500 gold is cheap. Look at my AC. It's 26.
Yeah, here's the funny thing about Pathfinder. It very quickly turns into a stats game.
Look at her
to go
fucking
against.
Constitution.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's fucking 22.
There are monsters that have 50 AC in this bitch.
That's fucking crazy, man. The stat bloat in these games is the most insane thing. So if I had to express why I hate this stat bloat thing so much is that from just talking to my son and just thinking about it, it encourages way too much min-maxing, which I know I've said this before in my Pillars of Eternity video. I think that min-maxing is the fucking devil. And it's like the worst thing that you can encourage in a game because the players are no longer role-playing. They're character building in like the worst kind of way, right? I just don't understand why you would want to encourage that kind of play in your game. Especially when, for me, character is all about the weakness of the character. I blame anime for this. The games that have, like, you have 35,000 health.
and you do 12,000 damage per hit. The only reason I bring all this up is that the first time I got a +1 anything in a Dungeons and Dragons game, I was super fucking stoked because I knew that that was like super important. But now I have gotten a +1 of everything, almost every single weapon in a +1 flavor. I've also gotten a short sword that does 1d6 electricity damage. None of this stuff feels like it's important or that it's good, that I'm super happy I found that item. I'm just like, oh, okay, it gives me a little more AC, cool, I'll use that. Nothing's important when it's this numerous and plentiful. You have to create rarity. I mean, that's the reason why loot boxes work in the first place, why interval rewards work in the first place. All you're doing is just making it so plentiful that it doesn't feel like it means anything, and you're just constantly chasing a high of getting a new item. It's like fucking Borderlands.
There's a hidden cost to all of this stat bloat too that might not be too obvious when you first look at this, but the hidden cost to this is that most combat no longer feels special after a certain amount of time. Monster rarity counts just as much as weapon rarity. Let me explain. When you have this severe stat bloat, your player characters are constantly getting stronger and stronger and stronger and ramping up. What happens is that they get to a certain power level very quickly that you can no longer throw lower level enemies at them anymore and be a challenge. So what you see in both this game and in pen and paper is suddenly every fight is with some rare creature that shouldn't be as numerous and plentiful as they are, but you keep seeing them. So in this game, you'll see different kinds of giants, wyverns, manticores, every assortment of rare mythical creatures, right? And what happens is, just like weapons, when you are constantly supplying the player with these rare creatures that they should only fight on very rare and special occasions, you degrade the special feeling that players get when they actually fight those enemies.
I found at the beginning of the game a very good short sword. My character is specialized on long swords. The only long sword I've been able to find so far that has any kind of enchantment on it is this +1 cold iron longsword, right? Now if you look at it, the cold iron just is good against demons and fey creatures, right? Which can come in use, you know, there's some use to that, but for the most part, not a whole lot of uses of this. But this just does more damage, so I'm going to use that before I use this. The issue is that, like, I want a longsword, but there's hardly any longswords in this game, which is really odd, because in most other games, let's just take Baldur's Gate since this game is being compared to it so much, games like Baldur's Gate, those things are way more than numerous. They're all over the place. So there's no reason why there shouldn't be more longswords in this game. And that's what I'm noticing. There's a severe lack, at least in the early game. I'm on chapter 3 or 4 right now. There's a severe lack of those kinds of things. There's a severe lack of weapon variety as far as weapons that you might actually use. So once again, I went on the internet to try and find an answer to that question of why haven't I found a longsword this entire time when I've been playing. And apparently, longsword's not the safe choice to go with in the early game. They don't actually start selling longswords that are any good until chapter 5. So you have to get more than halfway through the game in order to get a longsword for your longsword character. So, awesome. Why wouldn't you have more longswords in the game? That's like the safe choice for CRPGs. Like, that's what every CRPG since the beginning of time has had, at least a longsword. I mean, they literally in Planescape said when they were designing the game, they were like, there's not to be one longsword in this game, because they wanted everything to be unique and different from other CRPGs. If you're making a CRPG and you want it to be a classic CRPG, longsword, longsword, longsword. It is a staple. It is a staple of the game. And don't tell me fucking one-handed bastard sword. Don't tell me that. I don't want an exotic weapon proficiency to take up one of my feats.
Now I want to talk about the graphics in this game. This game has very pretty graphics and has a really interesting lighting system. But this lighting system comes with some pretty major drawbacks, so let's talk about the lighting now.
I also want to talk about something that has really super annoyed me in this game before, and that's the lighting system in these dungeons. I have, the first time I played this, I wandered around in this dungeon for, I would say, over an hour, looking for where I was supposed to go, only to find out that I didn't see one really dark passage leading up to the north when I first came through here. Typically in games, when we're trying to get a player to go to a certain location, we light it a certain way in order to draw the player's eyes to that light, right? This is an old trope in a lot of level design, is that you do it this way in order to attract the eyes of players, because we are naturally attracted to light. We're like moths. And in this game, these dungeons are just pitch black, in which I understand why they're pitch black. I get it. It's because you want them to feel like a dungeon. That's great, but that doesn't mean that you can't have lights in certain locations to inform players like, hey, you could go this way. This is like a possible way you could go. Maybe it's important. You might want to go here. Here's another thing, man. These dungeons are so fucking dark that, like, I have to navigate by this more often than I do when I'm actually in. Because there's certain passages that are so well hidden in the dark that you can't fucking see them. So you don't know where the hell you're supposed to go half the time. And you spend most of your time just wandering around in the dark, hoping you found the one dungeon passage that's the one that you're supposed to find. So I've been wandering around for a while now, and I'm trying to find a way to get into this area again. I had to come up through here because I thought that maybe I could get up to there, because you see this is all black, so I thought it was just an open area, but it's fucking not. It's a series of fucking tunnels. So why is it that the map, the actual map that I look at for fucking guidance, is absolutely, positively fucking useless? Look at this fucking thing. It's a disaster. It's all fucking black because they use the same graphics on this as they do when you're in the actual game. When I come into here, it should be the auto map minus the darkness. Light it up. Let me see shit. This is fucking useless. Why even have it if it's gonna be looking like this? Fucking God. This is like basic shit. So basically the result of all of this bullshit is that I have to sit here and I have to go to every single corner of this map and make sure that there's not some passageway that I might have missed, because the auto map is so fucking terrible, so incompetent, so shitty, that I have no choice but to wander around fucking aimlessly, clicking in the middle of darkness to try and find out where the fuck I'm supposed to go next. Is this a hallway? Ah, it is a hallway. See, I would have passed right past that because I wouldn't have even seen it. Dude, this is terrible. I understand that you want the dungeons to be appropriately dark, but god damn it, this ruins the experience. It makes it shitty. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time harping on this, but there was actually a very easy fix to this. You'll notice that the cone around you of light that reveals passages around you is very small. In order to fix this whole problem, even to a degree, fix the auto map, is to just increase that sight range. Increase it significantly so you can actually see what's going on around you and see hidden tunnels, and, as a side effect, fix the damn map. Because now passages will reveal themselves at the sides of hallways that you might not have seen when you were walking past them. The map then becomes useful. Alright, now let's talk about the UI for a minute. This is something that I'm going to complain about, but I'm not necessarily faulting the game for this because nobody has actually done this yet, as far as I can tell. But when you select spell focus, you get this list of spells, right? And unfortunately, this list of spells is kind of dog shit, or spell classes, I should say, because you don't know which spells usually that you're using all the time, what school they're in. And there's no way to actually look here. Like, I can't click on spells right now. That's been, for some reason, you know, grayed out. Would be really nice if I could look at that, but I can't. So it would be really nice as if, like, if I right clicked on this, it just showed me a list in here of the spells that I currently have that are in that school of focus. That way I can make an informed decision around the one I want to actually focus on without having to, like, click out of this, hit yes, go into my sheet, look at his spell book, and then go to the actual spell that I want. Like, so this is conjuration. Alright, cool. So now I know. Can we get that? Is that like a feature we could get in some game in the future, please? So here's something else I just realized as I was leveling up these characters. None of these skills actually tell you what they do as a kingdom management skill, right? Pretty sure these skills have to do with kingdom management. So here's what I'm going to do, because I want to confirm this real quick before I just assume. Let's see. Regent is charisma. Oh, it's ability based. So their bonus is dependent upon their stats. Oh boy. That's gonna influence things a bit. The weapon set system's pretty nice, but it's missing one key feature, and that feature is being able to equip the same offhand weapon in 2 slots. So there's no reason for me to have my second set be an entirely different set. Like, I have to have 2 different shields for that set. Like, I can if I want to, if I'm going for a specific build. For instance, if I'm doing a cold iron longsword, I know that I'm gonna want things that are gonna protect me from evil. So let's say I have a shield that protects me from evil, right? Because I'm gonna be fighting demons with this, right? Well, then I can have a shield in there that protects me from that kind of thing. But if I don't have anything like that, and all I want is for this shield to be in both slots, I should be able to do that. There's no real reason why I can't. So that's just a kind of silly little thing that maybe you don't think about that when you're designing it, but if you were to, let's say, do user testing, that would have came up at some point. Here's something I just noticed, and I thought that these chests that are locked sometimes require a key to get them open, but no, what's actually happening here is that you are failing to pick the lock, but the game isn't telling you that you even tried to pick the lock. Most of the time, it won't even show you an animation of her trying to unlock the thing, and she won't even play her, oops, I didn't do it, sound effect when she fails to do it. So there's no way that the game is telling you, oh, by the way, you didn't pick that lock, so now it's locked forever. The only way you can see it is if you look down here and you see, already failed to pick this lock. So it's just like a little UI thing. Like, maybe let us know in some better way than just something down here in this already bloated ass information screen. Tell us, you know, oh, you tried to pick the lock, but you didn't. Maybe show the animation and have her say her voice line for failing. That way we know, oh, she failed. That sucks. So I didn't even know that this was a thing. I'm like super excited to deal with this now. There's a town building mechanism that I didn't even know about. This is incredible. I'm super stoked. So like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna be able to visit the smithy? Am I gonna be able to visit the orphanage? And what kind of events are gonna go on there? You know, like, can I visit the shrine and the herbalist house? Like, I'm stoked. Like, I want to see how this all turns out. I have a renewed interest in this game. That opening was rough, but this game's starting to grow on me now. So I'm realizing now that even though I built all this stuff in the main square, these buildings and everything, well, they're not built yet, so maybe that's the problem. I'm gonna give it a little bit and see what happens. And when they're actually built, I'm gonna see if I can actually explore these areas. If I can't, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be super fucking disappointed.
Guess who was super disappointed? This guy. Now that we've completed the sections of the video, now we want to talk about stories. This is the part that I was talking about. This is by far the longest part of the video because I'm going through beat by beat on this and just having all of my thoughts laid out for you as I'm experiencing either frustrations or joy sometimes. There's actual joy in this game. This is for the hardcore people who just want to hear me talk about this game more. If you've watched up to this point, great, you can turn off right now. But so if you want to see what the fuck I'm talking about, keep watching and you will see the dramatic conclusion of this entire video. So where I'm starting this story section of this video is we're currently in the caves right now looking for Tartuccio. I, in this playthrough, mistook Tartuccio for Suit Scale, but I had just executed Suit Scale, and these are kind of my thoughts as I did this. And you might be asking yourself, why is he leaving in all the mistakes? Well, I'm leaving in the mistakes so that you can see what my mind frame was while I was playing it. If I get rid of the mistakes, that doesn't really help. See, in UX research, we want people to talk openly about what they're feeling. We don't want them to feel stupid, and we don't want them to worry that they're doing things wrong. If they're doing something wrong, then maybe there's a way we can help them do things right through UX design. But we gotta know what the problems are first. I'm confused now. So it said on the journal entry that just got updated, deliver Tartuccio to Keston dead or alive.
but we were gonna have to let him run away. I thought that our whole job was to deliver him alive or dead. This is so fucking confusing. I'm thinking what has to happen is we have to let him go, then we could capture him again, and then we could bring him into justice. This just doesn't make any fucking sense.
So I need to explain a little bit why I'm so confused here, because it's actually embarrassing to listen to this, because in retrospect, of course, I understand that that wasn't Tartuccio, but I'm super confused about it, because see, Tartuccio seemed like he was acting as the chief for the kobolds. He was leading them, he was telling them what to do, he was the charismatic leader of them, but then they also had a chief. So I'm thinking that chief and Tartuccio are the same thing. And I think what could have helped clear up this situation is if I had met Tartuccio and Suitscale before I actually fought Suitscale. That way I could tell the difference between the two of them. And by meeting them, I don't mean seeing them both in a cutscene. I mean actually having a conversation with Tartuccio and having a conversation with Suitscale. That would have helped me tell the difference a little bit better. But because I joined with the Mites and not the Kobolds, I never got a chance to meet Suitscale. So therefore, my confusion was just increased from that point. Tartuccio is leading them, but so is the chief. So there's two different people leading the same group, so it just confused the hell out of me. And it was completely unnecessary. Why even have Suitscale when you have Tartuccio already? It's like, to me, they both serve the same function, so why have two of them? Other than to pad out the gameplay, make me walk from one end of the map to the other, and then have to walk all the way back to the other end of the map to kill Suitscale or to kill Tartuccio. I am so fucking confused. This is such a confusing fucking quest, man. Because I'm supposed to go find this elk guy, right? And everything I'm doing is everything but going to find this guy. Recommend we wait until the fog clears. So I guess we have no choice but to wait until the fog clears, right? So I'm not gonna do the Queen's mission. I'm not gonna do her mission. I'm gonna move on with life. And I'm gonna see what happens. Let's see if the fucking quest fails. Let's find out. It's Tartuccio that we're after only because he found some relic that we're not even sure has anything to do with anything. It looks like in order to trigger the fog to actually clear, instead of what the game is telling me, which is just wait for the fog to clear, I gotta go do this mission in order to make the fog clear. And that might not even be the case. I might find out that the fog clears anyway, even if I don't do that shit. That's why this is so goddamn confusing and frustrating. It's not clear. I want it to be more clear. Oh my god. I'm supposed to be finding Stag Lord, and instead of finding the Stag Lord, I'm waiting for the fog to clear, right? So the game has told me twice now, wait for the fog to clear. Okay, I'll wait for the fog to clear. Well, chances are that fog's not going to clear until I do this mission. But the game doesn't tell me that. The game told me I did what I needed to do, now I just need to wait for the fog to clear. Which is it? Do I need to wait for the fog to clear, or do I need to go do this mission? How long is it going to take for the fog to clear? Like, I keep looking through here, none of this tells me anything. It just tells me that I'm going to fail in 59 days in 1 hour if I keep waiting. It says wait until the fog clears. Okay, well, which is it? So I'm going to go fight this guy, I guess. Alright, we're going to see what the hell happens here. Oh my fucking god, are you serious? Okay, this actually looks like it might be a challenge. Jesus, here we go. Nah, just put his ass to sleep. Wow, he just like killed all of his own dudes. Alright. Alright, so I've completed that quest now, finally. After having to go back and forth 3 times. Alright, so after killing Tartuccio, I come all the way back here and I get greeted by the nymph. Now the fog fades, so it is a scripted event. So why does the game tell you wait until the fog fades if the fog won't fade until you kill Tartuccio? Or is it that the fog will eventually fade even if you don't kill Tartuccio? Now I have to go online to see if that's the case. I fucking hate this. I hate this so much. It is the case. You have to kill Tartuccio in order for the fog to lift. And many people have been having this problem. Like, there's pages of this stuff on the internet you can find with people who are like, what the fuck's going on? The problem here is that the quests are not in order. People, quite a few of them, end up going to the elk
temple first. If you go to the elk temple first, you get a red herring in the form of, oh, you've already completed the quest that you need to complete because, you know, you cleared the fog. Now you just need to wait for it to fucking clear. But that's not the case. And it all comes down to journal entries. It all comes down to the fact that no events happen that tell you what you still need to kill Tartuccio, because apparently the fog won't fade until you do that. But here's the thing. Literally nothing happens after you kill Tartuccio that's special. It's just an event that you need to do in order to get it to fucking clear. It has absolutely nothing to do with the quest. You just have to do it arbitrarily. And unless you go out and check, like these people did, if that's the thing that you need to do, unless you go out and check to see for sure that that's what you need to do, you won't know. And a lot of people have been missing the fact that you need to actually go track down Tartuccio and kill him. This is like quest design 101. Once again, I'm saying this is like basic quest design. I don't understand how you could fuck this up. And it's a really bad first impression, and I think that this is why I stopped playing this game the first time. Because this quest was so bad and so frustrating. I just killed the Stag Lord and exited the area after looting every single corpse in every single secret area. Came out with a ton of loot and got to this loading screen and it just wouldn't stop loading. Then I thought to myself, okay, well, I'll just give it a minute. Maybe it's some shit I don't understand. And I came back in after smoking a cigarette and what do you know? The game fucking crashed. Thank God the game didn't completely fucking lose all of my progress. I still have all the weapons and stuff that I got from before, so thank God for small miracles. I didn't lose any progress. I'm looking around for a very specific option. I want to turn off the companions banter during camping, because camping is such a numerous and often ordeal that you have to just keep doing, that every time I have to hear them talk to each other, I want to rip my fucking ears off my face. I really wish there was a way to turn that shit off, man, because I don't want to keep hearing it. I just want them to stop. I just want to rest and move on. It's never like I'm resting so that I can hear them banter and talk. I'm resting so that I can keep playing the fucking game. Oh my god, this really fucking irritates me. Okay, so here we go. What will you do when you sit on the throne, Kyber Cully? Please don't say you haven't thought about it. There's lawful neutral, which I'm not a lawful neutral character. There's neutral evil. I'm not a neutral evil character. And then there's just whatever happens, I hope you're beside me. Appreciate your help. And I appreciate you yourself, Valerie. What if I don't give a shit about her? What if I just want to say a lawful good response? Man, god damn it, dude, the dialogue. Like, and I'm paying more attention, unfortunately, to what the alignments are because I'm a paladin. I'm paying more attention to the fucking alignments than the actual dialogue. So I don't even know if the content of the dialogue is what it's supposed to be. It's just, god, it's so fucking frustrating. So I wanted to touch on something here in the story. So I killed the Stag Lord, right? That was my main mission. My first thought after I killed him was to go and tell Jamandi, right? To go all the way back to the castle and say, hey, he's dead. We did it, right? When I got there, nothing happened. So I had to go into my journal to find out that, no, in fact, I need to go find this dude's father for some reason? What? So now I'm talking to Oleg. Let's see what he has to say. Restov awaits. So I had to go and tell him that so that I can get back to Restov. Wow. See what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. Why do I need to go talk to an innkeeper and not, you know, the person who gave me the fucking mission? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I want to give credit where credit is due. I actually like this bit of dialogue here for a couple of reasons, because I don't know anything about Brevoy's history. And I was about to just like go out and find it on the internet, but you actually get to ask. So I'm going to see how this plays out. Well, I gotta say, the game just renewed my interest in it. All this political intrigue is actually pretty fascinating, and I'm all over it. I'm really interested in learning what each and every one of these different states has to do with this, what they want, what their games are. I'm really hoping that they go into great detail with all the other houses and what their motivations are, because that is going to keep me playing. So we'll see what happens.
Today, we are here to honor 3 brave people who have done the impossible. They've tamed the stolen lands.
Victory. The Stag Lord's dead, and the capital of the new barony has been built in place of his fort. That was how the long and challenging taming of the stolen lands began.
Oh boy. Up. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow, that was a waste of fucking time. Thanks, game. You trolled me. Okay, so this game totally fucking trolled me again. You know, the nymph says come by yourself. So I'm imagining in the world that I live in, like the world of you tell me to do a thing, I'm gonna do it, that if I go there with a bunch of other people, I won't be able to do the mission, right? Because I was told to come alone. I come alone and it's a trap. And the trap is that it just fucking kills me because I get hit with a fucking drain level spell, right? But you can avoid it by not taking the middle route. Then I'm thinking, okay, well, I could just continue forward and see what the fuck's going on here. Nope.
And alone, just as I asked. Do you not know, my loyal hound, that the brightest flowers are also the most poisonous? There is nothing you can change.
Well, I imagine I'm gonna fucking die. Am I gonna outwalk these guys? No, I am not. I am going to die. Alright, cool. I guess I'll reload the game. It's my own stupid ass fault for even thinking it was a thing I could fucking do, but you know. See, what I think of as fun is when the game makes you, like, just completely waste 15 minutes of your life doing a thing just to see what's gonna happen, and then put you in a situation where you can't possibly win, where your only choice is to run, but you can't even run because there's something huge blocking the exit and you're bound to get killed by it before you could get out. Like, I really love that. Like, I love having to go through a whole list of autosaves to find the one where I didn't waste my time doing that, right? That's my definition of fun. Absolutely. Like, you can't even talk your way out of it. You can't convince her to just let you go. You can't do any of that stuff. You have no choice but to reload a save. That is the definition of fun. Absolutely. So here's a funny fact. People in medieval times didn't say things like, we've lived here since forever. It's like, when I read this, I thought I must have added in another word. We've lived here since, like, forever. Because when I read it, that's all I could think of. This is like the second time I've run across dialogue where I was just like, did a Valley girl write this? Alright, so I just got a mission from this Fae chick. And she's got these guys held hostage. So I get this mission, and it says, you know, to ask the Dryad Teresia, who lives in the Gnarl Marshes, to give you some. These handful of feather tokens. You would think that we just got a mission. Person wants us to go get something for them. You'd think that she would tell you where exactly she is. But here I am on the fucking map. I am not seeing it anywhere on this map. Anywhere. Gnarl Marches or beyond. I am just not seeing it. So that's a lot of fun, right? That's a lot of fun. So I just get to what? Just walk around the Gnarl Marshes until I find this fucking place? Like, you would think if she wants these feather tokens so bad, she would tell me where the fuck to get them. Like, tell me specifically where to get them. Mark it on my fucking map, you'd think. But no. Just wander around until you find them. Meanwhile, she's gonna be what? Just sitting there holding those two guy hostages? Is that never going to cease to be a thing? Could this go on for months? How long will it be that she's gonna hold this guy hostage? I've been playing this game for a little while, and I got to the point where I am the baron of my lands and whatnot. I'm just kind of going about the day and all, and I'm starting to realize that, like, the game is suffering a bit from, like, a lack of direction. So we got introduced to a guy who's obviously influencing the events that are happening right now, but he's kind of really, really far in the background. And I want to use Baldur's Gate 2 as kind of like my example of what a really good villain who's absent really is. A really good villain who's absent introduces himself in a very bombastic way, right? Like, let's take the example of Baldur's Gate 2, where you meet this villain. He's a complete douche, but he has these kind of interesting motivations. He wants you for some reason, but he'll settle for your sister. And because he has your sister, and because he's so powerful and able to kill all those Omnish mages, you find him to be an immediate threat. but you think that the immediate threat is taken care of because he's in prison. But you also kind of know better because you know that that guy's kind of a threat. And the way that they handled his development is to show you bits and pieces of what he's doing currently in prison. And you know that his imprisonment is not going to last long. But your character doesn't really know. Your character just knows that his sister is currently in prison and he wants to break her out because that's important to him, right? Or maybe it isn't, whatever your character's motivations are. In this game, the guy's not only absent, but he's completely absent. You see him for 1 second and that's it. It just seems like there's just a lack of motivation. It's like, okay, I have a barony and I'm running the barony and I'm doing little tasks here and there, right? But there's no connective tissue tying the story all together and giving you the motivation to find out what happens next. And I mean, I know it sounds like a small gripe, but this is about the time when I stopped playing the first time. When I stopped playing this game the first time after I bought it, I was right at the troll area where I went through the whole troll mission and everything, beat it, and then I just kind of never came back to the game because there wasn't any real strong motivation in the story driving me forward to do it. So, admittedly, this game did something pretty cool here just now. This quest, what it has to do with is you're trying to figure out what the source of the troll's fire immunity is. And when you come and talk to this guy, he tells you why. That they've been stamped or branded by some artifact to give them what is essentially just a really low-level wizard spell. And he's concerned about it because of the intellect behind it. Somebody's actually amassing this force, yada yada yada. I already know why. But the thing about this quest is that it forces you to actually talk to this troll because you now have to make some moral decision about what this guy is doing experiment-wise, because he's experimenting on this troll, cutting its limbs off, just doing some pretty rancid shit to this troll. And I think it's good because it has a bit of a moral choice to it, right? But the chaotic good thing, of course, and I totally agree with this, would be that they're sentient beings, not cattle. What you're doing is humane, set them free, right? Here's the thing, though. I'm a lawful good character. I care more about the law, but I still don't like what he's doing. That choice is not here. And that's actually a really difficult choice to write, honestly. But they should have written it. They should have written it. See, in these kinds of situations, what I like to see is a very philosophical argument happen between the two characters. But in this game, the way it handles things, of course, because of this morality system they're trying to force down our throats, is it doesn't give you time to really explore the philosophical ramifications of these things. You're just supposed to make a snap decision right away before you know all of the things about this. Before the person even has a chance to tell you or argue his point, you have to make a decision. Right now, I understand that up here he tells you why he's doing it and everything, but that's not the same as having a debate with somebody. In older CRPGs, this was like a back-of-the-box feature. It's like, you're gonna have philosophical arguments with people. Planescape Torment. Even to a point, Baldur's Gate. Like, you would have these conversations with people, and then you would make a decision. You'd be like, okay, well, you know what? Given everything you've said, fine, right? Or, given all the things that you've said, nah, I'm not cool with this. And then the conversation would go on from there. Usually the structure would be, you'd learn everything, you'd go back and forth, you'd argue about the philosophical ramifications of whatever they're doing, and then you get a chance to decide what you want to do, right? And sometimes you can decide to convince them that they're in the wrong. And if your charisma was high enough, or your intelligence was high enough, or whatever the case may be, you might actually convince them that what they're doing is wrong. That is interesting choice. These choices in Pathfinder are the farthest thing from interesting choices. And that sucks because this had the potential to be super interesting, but unfortunately, Alcat failed to make that an interesting choice. Oh well. Oh my fucking god, and then the game goes and fucking ruins it. Are you serious? So because she has a problem with this, now all of a sudden, I'm supposed to change my fucking mind. Neutral. That doesn't concern me, but since this is so important, What? What happened to the lawful neutral option from fucking before? What happened to that? Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to change my mind? Because I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna fucking perform a neutral evil action. And where does this game get off telling me that this is a neutral evil option? Neutral evil people are only concerned with themselves. They're only concerned with themselves. What exactly do I get out of telling Octavia to mind her own fucking business? Aside from a very pissed off companion. I just do not agree with so many of the decisions that this game has made. I'm to the point where I'm actually mad right now. I want to point out something about this troll quest. So, we were supposed to go find the mage guy and find out what he knows about the trolls. All he did was tell us information. Like, he didn't tell us how to defeat it or anything. So, that whole thing, not only just completely optional, but a waste of time. He just told us stuff that we're gonna find out when we actually do the mission. And as far as I know, that information he gave us isn't going to help us in any way. What is up with this game, dude? It's as if the people who designed it don't understand that there has to be a point to why you're doing things. It's these moments when the game really shines. In the moments when you're actually sitting on the throne making decisions, the game it's really starting to shine to me. Mainly because the options of how to deal with certain people are pretty robust. And they never railroad you into making one single decision, which is great so far. And this Bald Hilltop quest is actually pretty interesting, so I'm gonna see where this all goes. But it's like, I wish this was really most of the game, and I just wish that there was like I said before, some connective tissue. Like, we are fighting against an enemy. Like, I think Patax is the enemy we're fighting, but I'm still unsure of that. Are they the ones that I'm supposed to be upset with? I don't know. There's no real enemy here, aside from Tartuccio, which is just like, whatever. That's just like a side thing almost. It doesn't feel like some big threat. Alright, this is day 4 of playing Pathfinder. I took a day off yesterday because I was just super exhausted. I've been kind of burning the candle at both ends with the book that I'm writing, and with this, I kind of been up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning every day, and I had to get up at like 7, so I just needed to take a day off because I was super irritated with like everything yesterday, and I didn't want to play this game in that mental state because I have a feeling I'd be just overly harsh on it. So here we are. You know what I just realized? In that conversation I just had with her, I asked her what happened to the village before I even got to the village and knew anything about it. I think the order of events here is a little wrong.
Be on guard. Now is the beginning of the hunt.
So far, it seems to me that this game really runs on a very simple structure. It has a semi-interesting game loop, but it's not anything to write home about. From what I could tell so far, the way this game structure works is that you found your kingdom, you build your kingdom through the BP build points, you do certain little missions for the kingdom, and then every once in a while, you get a really big mission that you gotta go do. But for the most part, what I'm finding is that most of the game time in this is so padded out with the traveling on the game map, going from place to place, doing fetch quests. The game never rises above the level of simple quests so far. Every quest that I've done so far has been, yeah, I'll do that for you if you go get this stuff, or I'll do that for you, or I'll tell you this if you go get me 10 fucking mushrooms from this forest. Then you travel halfway across the map, get there, travel all the way back, and most of your time's just spent staring at this fucking map and hitting the rest key and then listening to this inane banter between the two party members. It's just like, the game has not yet, in the last 10 hours of gameplay, pulled me in and made me look forward to playing it more. See, I'm playing it because I'm doing a review, but I want to play it because I like it. But so far, there is just nothing interesting going on here. It's just inane side quests. And to clarify, I don't necessarily have a problem with fetch quests in their entirety. I have a problem with fetch 10 of these kinds of things. It's like, it's such a waste of my fucking time. You know what I mean? But fetch quests in and of themselves are not necessarily bad. Like, there are some fetch quests where like, hey, I need you to go to this dungeon and get me this thing. right, that's in the dungeon, right? But it's the main reason you're there. It's not like, oh, go to this side room and pick up this thing on your way while you're doing this other thing. It's, go get me this thing in this dungeon. It's being guarded by something or another, and so on and so forth. And you can be as creative with those kinds of quests as you want to be, and you can make them as complex as you want to be, right? But going and collecting 10 of X is not a creative side quest. It is not something that makes me go, ooh, the writing in this is really good. So, yeah, for days, these guys have just been standing here. Literally, just for days, just been standing here waiting for me to go get those feathers. It's been several days. It's had to have been at least 2 weeks since I've been back here. That entire 2 weeks, they're just standing there. They're not tired or nothing. They're just standing there. No one's started a fight. No one's got tired of waiting around. They just stood there like nothing else is going on. All right, will you free the goddamn hostages now? All right, that was that was an awful lot of work for very little reward. And to clarify here, I don't mean the monetary rewards, because obviously a Ring of Protection +2 is pretty damn good reward for something like that. But I'm just talking about, like, I feel rewarded in a different way usually when I'm doing missions like this. Like, I prefer a cool event to happen, or a really good piece of dialogue, or an interesting dialogue choice, or just anything that's interesting other than, yeah, here, have this really expensive ring. I don't know. I have not found one single thing that I have done in this game yet to be all that interesting. I gotta go find this Jenna lady, I guess, and go finish this mission. This is the only thing, honestly, that I've done that actually is holding my interest at all, is this one quest. And I have a feeling that they're just going to mishandle it. It's interesting to me if it turns out that this lady did something to her kid, because at least that's not as predictable as so many of the other quests in this game so far. At least that kind of brings up some interesting questions, at least. Okay, so predictably, nothing interesting at all. She says she got mad at her son, and I told him to go drown himself in the Candlemere Lake. Oh no, how could this have ever happened? Oh, I'm such a terrible person, right?
Now, the reason this was so disappointing to me is not because I'm like some kind of fucking sadist or something, and I wanted to see her kill her kid or any of that kind of stuff, but it's because I saw at the end of this quest, like out there on the horizon, that what was gonna happen was that I was gonna get to finally make some kind of real moral decision about what to do with this woman. Like, if she had done something to her kid, then I get to mete out justice against her. I get to put her in prison, or I get to execute her, or I get to actually make a decision as a baron about what to do with her. And it let me down. Because, like, with many of the other side quests, this quest just ends. It ends with a wet fart.
So, of course, wherever the kid ran away to, it doesn't actually say on the map, so now I gotta go looking around Candlemere Lake, so I guess here we go, right? The fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Okay. Alright then. Okay, so I found the kid, apparently. Apparently he went to go live with lizard people. Alright, color me intrigued. Let's see where this goes. So this is a weird one. Because I chose to use diplomacy first and failed, I can no longer go back and do the option where I just use my alignment. And now, the only way I can talk to this person is to attack them, or leave. Well, I obviously can't leave unless I'm just gonna leave the kid there, so now I gotta kill them. Oh well, here we go. Guess you guys gotta die. I honestly do not know how the fuck I managed to beat everybody in here with one character, but I think that that shows you that having an AC of 33 is a little overpowered. And yes, I used probably every single potion I had in my bag, but she literally killed like 8 creatures on her own.
Let's give them what they deserve. Onwards!
Just said exposed.
This game has some really fucked up weird things going on. I attacked these two guys over here, these three guys appeared from below here, and then I scroll over and then there's three of these guys over here, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what, I could probably handle this. Nope. Nope. Can't handle that. Gonna fucking die. I just got done fighting these three guys over here, so you would think if I fought these three guys here, that these guys would all come running right at that point. But no, they literally don't come running until you fight these guys, and then they come and ambush these fucking two who are standing off to the back. Shit is ridiculous, man. This is why I don't like playing on normal, because it's like, it's shit like this where it's like, how the fuck would you ever survive this? Wow. Alright, goddamn. I really did not think it was going to be possible to win this. Alright, well, there you go. I have no choice but to give him this lizard. No choice at all. Doesn't seem like a very good action or a nice action. I didn't have the ability to do anything else to suss out who this guy is or maybe figure out a way to make him reveal himself. Nothing like that. Or at least nothing that was very obvious to me. I'm sure there was a way to do it. And gave him the lizard, and then the boy just runs off. He's like, alright, I'm gonna go see my mom now. It's like, kid, do you know how many fucking things I had to kill to get here, to get you? And you're just gonna run off and shit like that? Shouldn't there have been maybe, I don't know, some dialogue or some shit with the kid? Maybe like, you know, maybe we should take him back to his mother? I don't know, am I being too picky here? It's just weird. All of the quests kind of end without like a whole lot of closure. You know what I mean? So now there's just this evil presence just kind of walking around and shit. Now, I'm sure that he has something to do with that Candle Lake, whatever the hell it is, keep in the middle of the lake, and at some point I'll go there and figure out what the hell that's all about, and maybe that'll lead somewhere. But every mission in this game so far has just ended without fanfare or fucking applause or just anything. They just end, and that's it. It's not very satisfying to finish a mission in this game. I keep wondering, like, am I just being a dick? Wow, you know, what a shoulder shrugger of a fucking quest that was, man. It ended with a harumph. You go through all this effort, you travel all this way, you spend weeks of in-game time trying to, like, do that quest, right? And, yeah, it's just, oh, thank you. You're so great, I love you, oh, you're so awesome. No lessons to be learned, nothing, no, why did you do this to your son? None of that kind of shit, just this. Just, yeah, thank you. Alright, cool, bye. You get 3 loyalty, cool, see ya. Alright, bye. That's what this game is missing. It's missing writing. It's missing writing. And stakes. It's missing stakes. Nothing at stake. And this is about this map. This is, I gotta say, this is the most annoying thing about this game. Can this go any faster? Like, I'm gonna look in the options right now and see if there's any way to make this shit go any faster, because this seriously is so fucking annoying. Like, that is the slowest, most painful thing to sit there and watch. I feel like most of my game time is spent watching that fucking figure move across the fucking world map, and it is the most annoying thing ever. No, there's no way to make that go any faster. And it's like you're either traveling or you're resting. It's like, I love the way that other games handle this, where it's like all of this kind of shit is not really a thing that you gotta worry about. It just sort of happens. You know what I'm saying? You pick a place you want to travel to, your characters travel there, and if they're tired when they get there, they're tired when they get there. You just rest. Now to watch my slow drive from all the way down here to all the way up here for Valerie's personal quest, so that I can have a conversation, I guess. Man, I sure do complain a lot. I wonder if anybody's gonna get tired of hearing that. Like, if it moved at this speed, I'd be happy. Oh my god, I'd be so happy. If it just moved at that pace all the time, fuck me, that would be great. I think that's about all I can do tonight. Or I should say, that's about all I can take tonight. I'm gonna rest my characters up, and then I guess I'm gonna go write. Because, God, I just did not enjoy my time with this so far. God damn it. That conversation between those two was fairly interesting, you know, but it was between them two. I kind of had nothing to do with it. I made some decisions here and there, but they weren't, like, impactful decisions. They didn't mean anything, and the dialogue that I got a chance to say was far from interesting. So it's like, I'm wondering if maybe if my intelligence was higher, if I'd have more intelligent things to say in that case. But it's like, at the end of the day, I don't want to play through this entire game again just to see. With all of the frustrations and things that are culminating with this, I just don't know that I want to play it again. There just doesn't seem to be replay value in it for me. Like, maybe if that world map was different and you could just auto-travel to places and then it would calculate how long it took you to get there, or it would calculate whether or not you ran into something on the way and just spared you all of this mindless shit, I might not have a problem with it, but it just wastes too much of your fucking time with worthless shit. Okay, so I feel like I need to talk about this. So it's day 4 and my cat is crying. It's day 4. And I'm at this point with the game where I feel like I'm really irritated by it. And I'm irritated by a lot of the systems in it. And I'm generally just not having a good time with the game. And I'm starting to think that maybe it was just my opinion. Like, I'm just not in a good mental state to play the game or something else, right? So I never do this, but I went out and I looked up other reviews. Now, let me tell you why I don't normally do this. I don't normally do this because I don't like to have my reviews tainted by other people's opinions. I like to come at it from a completely clean perspective, not knowing what it is I'm getting into. So I figured on the 4th day, if I'm not enjoying it, like, and everybody is recommending it to me and telling me to play it, then maybe there's something to this. Like, maybe I'm just not having a good time because of external reasons or something. But sure enough, I went out there and I saw that all of the complaints that I was having were the same complaints that other people were having. That the story's dry, it seems to take too long to get going, the map screen is a chore to go through. Some people didn't have that complaint. They had complaints about the stability. I haven't had any stability problems yet, but of course I haven't gotten to a point where I can't finish the game because of a bug. So, that could still happen. But I'm generally not running into stability problems. I'm just running into problems generally with all the different systems in the game. So, I'm not sure what the deal is, but it seems like a lot of people have agreed. You know, it's a 6.0, which 6.0s on review sites, that usually means it's a 4. It's just not a good game. Below average at best. And that's pretty much what I feel like it is. I feel like it's like a 4. Even in its current state, after as many patches as they put out, I still think it's like a 4. And that kind of hurts a little bit, because I was really looking forward to a game set in a Pathfinder campaign setting. Didn't realize, though, just how bad the campaign is. And just how overly complicated the character progression system is in Pathfinder. Like, I use a homebrew when I do tabletop sessions, and I just wasn't prepared for just how bland this was going to be. So overall, I'm just really disappointed. I'm going to keep playing it, but it's like, I'm forcing myself to do this, you realize. Alright, so this is day 5 of the whole journey with this game, and yeah, I found an error finally, you know? I thought maybe I was gonna get away with this game without actually finding a fucking bug, but here we are. And the problem is that I'm not even sure if it's a bug. It might have been designed this way intentionally, but if it was, what a stupid fucking design. So I started creating an alchemist house before I even knew I could get Bakken, right? And Bakken, one of his requirements is that you go find him some berries and shit, you know, standard goddamn RPG fetch quest bullshit. You do it, and then he says, okay, well, I'll come work for you if you give me my own place, my own alchemist house. So I created his alchemist house, and but I had already started it before I started his quest. Guess what? I am not able to tell him that I have created his place for him, so I am never going to be able to get Bakken. Simply by the fact that, you know, I created the house beforehand. So I'm going to go back to town and I'm going to see if I can actually destroy the house and then recreate the fucking house, losing the BP that I put into it. But we're going to see if that works.
2 hours later.
I just found out that Bakken is not actually an advisor. I had to go online to figure this out. Even though it says he will work for your court as an alchemist, and all he needs is a house, he never actually moves into the fucking house. He just stays at Oleg's. So how is he in any respect working for you? There's just a lot of things that this game doesn't take into consideration when it comes to user experience, and it's super fucking frustrating. It doesn't take into account that there are certain things that I, the player, am expecting to happen. What you say in the game is what you do. So don't tell me to do things like wait for the fog to clear and then fucking ruin my game because I expected the fog to clear at some point. Don't tell me that you're gonna come and work for my kingdom and then stay all the way up north with Oleg, even though I built you a fucking house several days away from where you currently are living. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So much of this game doesn't make any sense. It's fucking perplexing as fuck. And unfortunately, I think about these kind of things. Like, if I just played the game and didn't think about it, then that'd be one thing. But I unfortunately think about these things. I'm expecting certain things to happen, and I'm pretty Johnny on the fucking spot when it comes to making sure they happen. And unfortunately, what I'm finding is that 9 times out of 10, when the game says it's going to do something, it fucking doesn't. It's lazy design. It's not only lazy design, but it's also at times unintuitive design, because I have a feeling this game was just not user tested. It was beta tested, and a lot of emphasis was put on the beta testing part of it without the forethought to think that, well, maybe we shouldn't put so much, emphasis on what people think, because people don't really know what they want. I know Blizzard said this and it got a lot of fucking slack, right? But here's the thing, it's true. Now I should probably clarify this because I babbled on about this for a while and never really made a whole lot of sense, but the whole reason that we do user testing and not just push out a bunch of beta tests all the time is that, in fact, players can't really at times express why they're angry with a system, why they're frustrated with it. They just know that they don't like it, right? So when you do a survey of these players after they've played the game, you're usually asking questions like, how did you feel about X, Y, and Z system, right? And then they'll rate it on a quantitative scale of like 1 to 5, 1 being I hated it, 5 being I loved it. And they'll rate their responses. And then every once in a while you have a qualitative question, which is essentially a subjective measurement. And subjectively, they're supposed to express their feelings, but what you find is that the players really do struggle with expressing why they didn't like something. So it's then the researcher's job to interpret what it was they were having trouble with, either through looking at the video of them playing the game and seeing what exactly they were struggling with, and then interpret that data and then present it to a dev so that they can then come up with solutions to that problem to keep people from struggling with it. That's what user testing is good at, and this game just smacks of not having had any of it done. So here's a fun fact. When I first played this game, I had my advisor because I went to the ford across the Skunk River. Now, I thought that area was an automatic trigger, but apparently it isn't. I don't know why I saw it the first time. I must have just been going to every place, but I had actually been to this place beforehand. As you can see, I've already been here. And there's a guy that you're supposed to get from here. And unfortunately, I can no longer get that guy because I had been to this ford already. And for some reason, he doesn't spawn anymore. His cart doesn't get stuck in mud. I just have missed that event completely. Even though I've already been here, I've missed the event completely. I don't have a treasurer, and I'm not sure if I can actually get a treasurer now. I now have to go online and see if there's another way to get a treasurer, because there's so many events I can't do because I don't have a fucking treasurer. Was there any forethought put into this game at all? Like, I really don't understand this. There's so much that you can't do because the game designers thought it would be a good idea to lock you out of certain whole swaths of the fucking game by missing an event.
I'm sorry, that's fucking dog shit. Like, you could get away with that in pen and paper because it's much more forgiving, but you can't get away with that in a video game. You simply cannot. Oh my god, dude. If I counted how many times I have had to go on the internet to see what the result of one of my actions were because the game didn't tell me, if I got paid to do that, I wouldn't have to work. So this fucking game is hilarious. I can't even take it seriously anymore. It's so fucking hilarious. Such terrible design. I can't even be mad at it anymore. It's like, I'm never surprised when I read shit online now. I'm never surprised. So, apparently, if I do these events in the wrong way, even though the ford across the Skunk River is a mandatory event, and you're supposed to trigger it on your way to troll trouble, if it doesn't trigger automatically, and you end up doing Chapter 2 without recruiting Jubilos because it didn't trigger automatically on my playthrough, he fucking vanishes from the game, and you don't get somebody to fill that spot until Bartholomew Delgado comes in. But when does he come in? Oh, I don't fucking know. At some point, who the fuck knows when? At some point, we'll get him. Unfucking real. This game is just the height of too much. I'm looking at the reviews on this game. People are like, this is the best game since Baldur's Gate. What fucking game are you playing? Is it a different game that I'm playing? It's like, this game is fucking broken. It's simply fucking broken. I mean, it doesn't work. And the stuff that isn't bugs, this is what fucking blows my mind. The stuff that isn't bugs and is actually intentional is the worst stuff. That's the worst stuff. That has the worst impact on the game. It's not even the bugs that have the worst impact. It's the stuff that they planned. The stuff that they planned and wanted to happen. Oh my god. I'm sorry if you like this game. I'm sorry. You're probably thinking, wow, this dude, he didn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Dude, this is the experience that I'm having. I'm having this experience where I'm just like, I don't understand why there's things that aren't happening. And I'm playing the game and there's things that are happening that I don't understand why, and the game's not telling me, and I have to go and depend on the internet to tell me what the game should already be telling me. Ugh. Look at all this shit that I can't do. Look, no treasurer. Can't do it, right? No. There's some of these that are treasurer ones. No available, 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 no available. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's like 2 or 3 of these tasks that I just can't do. And are they gonna run out? Like, am I gonna lose shit because I didn't do this in time? Probably. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. Right? Because I have no treasure, so I can't do anything about that. Oh my god, somebody just fucking murder me now, man. Oh my god, I still have like 30 hours left to play in this game. What was the point of that? Like, you put an icon on my map, you show some bogard hunting grounds, then I go in there and I just kill a bunch of bogards? That's it? That's it. I understand that not everything has to be some big sweeping epic and shit, but I don't know. Maybe have something, maybe... I'm at a loss for words. Like, so many of these quests are just go here and kill some shit. That's it. Just go here, kill some shit. My least favorite thing about this game is the combat, so I'm not exactly like playing this game for the combat. I'm playing it because I'm trying to get something else out of it. If all I was playing this for was the combat, I'd be pretty bored, honestly. Nothing you do has like any impact. It's really strange. It's like for a game where if you miss an event, you fucking miss that event
permanently. You'd think the things you do would have a little more impact, but oh my god, this is so frustrating. I can't go 5 minutes without having some fucking frustration with this game. So look, the Cyclops' hitbox is so fucking big. It's literally a square, right? It's so big. It's all the way to here, and then all the way to this corner, but you can't see it because these guys are in the way. Their hitbox is interfering. I want a Miri to move to this side of the Cyclops, right? I can't do that. I can't get a Miri to move to that side of the Cyclops without, like, having her go all the way to fuck over here, right? Because there's no place to put her. I could maybe make her go there, but I'm not sure that's going to get her out of this cone of attack with the Cyclops, right? Jesus fucking Christ, look what she's doing! Why? Why are you going that way? Fuck! Oh my god, this game fucking sucks! So apparently this dude has a 360 cleave with his fucking weapon? Cause he just killed him, he's standing behind him! Fuck me. Look, now she finally finds her way to fuck over there, hooray. And I'm dead. Doesn't matter. Dude, oh my god! This gameplay loop is so tedious. Walk around the open world, fucking tedious, going from point to point to point to point to point, slowly opening up more of the map, then having to come all the way back to the kingdom to do some management shit, because you can't let that go for too long, because if you let that go for too long, you might miss an event that you need to do, and if you miss the event, then your kingdom suffers, and if your kingdom fucking fails, then you fail, and it's just like, it just forces you to go out, do a little tiny sliver of a thing, and then come back, do a little tiny sliver of a thing, and then come back. It's just a tedious fucking grind, man. This is so tedious. Tedious. I feel like I'm having to critique every single bit of this game. So the way that this game does exposition is that it just dumps it right on your lap without ceremony, without any trouble on your part. People tell you the most secret and intimate details of their life without even asking you if you give a shit. Now, in other games, like Baldur's Gate, which this game, oddly enough, is being endlessly compared to as the spiritual successor to, in Baldur's Gate, you really had to, like, gain that companion's trust. You needed to ask them about it, and sometimes they wouldn't even tell you. Sometimes they'd be like, nah, you know what, I'm not in the mood to talk about this. And slowly and over time, you would get these details about their lives. Now, I know that she's mad because she found this guy and she saw that her dagger was in there. And I get it, that makes sense, but the thing is that there's another way to do this, which is much better for me, right, as the player. When she comes to you with this guy, it would have been more like, I want you to do something about this man, he had my dagger in his bag, and so on and so on. And then it would be a kind of back and forth, where he would be like, look, I can understand, I can explain. And then she'd be like, no, there's no explaining what you did. I know how you got that dagger, and that's all that matters. This man deserves death, whatever. And then I would have to then investigate why she thinks he has the dagger, why that's important. And if I had enough trust with her, she would tell me about the details of her death, how she died, how she was brought back, and how she was missing all of her gear, and how the only way he could have had that is if he was the guy who killed her. Whatever. That would have been fine. But the way this game does it, it just dumps it right on your lap. It's just like, here. Here, have some exposition. Just have some more. Have some exposition. Okay, that was a bit of a hot take born out of frustration, but let's really talk about this. So, my idea of good dialogue is a back and forth. A argument, a debate, a conversation, whatever the case may be, there's usually a back and forth here. The problem with this game is that what happens is that it dumps you a bunch of exposition. The person tells you how they feel, tells you all of the circumstances of the event without being asked to, and then you have to make a decision. And once you make that decision's final. This is what happens, and that's it. And then usually the dialogue ends very shortly after that, without you being able to redirect questions or ask anything else or what have you. So my problem with this is, like, take this scenario. I'm a PC, and this other guy's guy's an NPC, and I'm talking to him, and he says, "You don't understand why I'm doing this." And I go, "Well, help me understand. I want to know why you're doing this." And he goes, "Well, the people that I will save by doing this are innumerous. You have no idea." And I'm like, "Yes, but how many people are you going to sacrifice to save how many other people?" And he goes, "Those sacrifices are necessary to achieve my goals." And then I say, "No sacrifice is ever necessary. Have you ever thought about another option?" "Of course I've thought about other options." And you go, "Well, have you thought about this?" And then at that point, when you get to that dialogue, then you have a list of things that could possibly be better than the thing that this guy is currently partaking in. And then, depending on what you choose, you may very well sway this person, right? And then all those dialogue options that you have, they might be determined on how smart you are or how charismatic you are. And that gives extra weight to the decisions you made in a stat screen. You might want to give your barbarian a little bit of a charisma boost because you want to be able to convince people of things, right? And that will then minimize the min-maxing that you see. You'll actually see people really role-playing in the game. But there's no chance for you to role-play in this game because the dialogue is so straightforward. It's so binary. Or they might just get angry with you because you think I haven't thought of that. Of course I've thought of that, right? But that is a back and forth. That is a conversation that not only helps you learn more about the other person in an interesting way, but also gives you an option, at least you think at the time, to sway this person's beliefs, or at least instill a sense of doubt in them that they know what it is that they think they know. Because that's what a hero does. A hero tries to convince the villain that they're wrong. And that's the problem that I have with this. There's no chance for a back and forth. The dialogue doesn't ever feel real. It just feels like people talking at you, and then you get to make a decision. I asked my son, I said, "What makes good dialogue to you?" And he said, "It's based on the impact that a decision I make has." And I said, "But what determines that impact?" And he stopped for a minute, and I went through this scenario with him, and he was like, "Shit, you're right. That is it. It's because I was engaged in the dialogue, back and forth with them." So that's the real problem I have with so much of the dialogue in this game, is that it doesn't flow organically, and it doesn't feel like real people are talking to each other. That's the real problem I have with this. But this dialogue is literally some of the worst exposition dumps I have ever seen. Mishandled and just bad. There's a reason why you use dialogue branching in an RPG. One, it makes the player feel like they are actively searching for information. They're actively doing something aside from just reading. Also, there has to be conflict in the dialogue. Not conflict between these two, but a triad. Now, I've talked about this in my writing videos a lot. A good conflict always has three people involved. These two people have a conflict, and I have a conflict with either the party member or the other person, right? But I get to choose that because I'm the player. Who do I side with? Who do I not side with? Now, it seems like this has that, but it doesn't have that until the very end. Like every other quest in this game, I get to make one choice. That's it. I don't get to make a series of choices that will then influence the final choice, like in any other RPG, you know, like Baldur's Gate, which this game is being endlessly compared to. I get to make one choice and one choice only. So now, of course, I'm going to go do that quest because I want to make sure I get it done, just because I never know when that quest is going to disappear in this game. You just never know. Shit, it might have disappeared just by the mere fact of me fucking resting. Who the hell knows? So many things in this game just disappear without warning or fanfare.
Done and done.
Okay, so I am completely getting ground down to a nub by this game and its writing, and it's let's just call it special logic that it uses. I don't want to get copyright flagged. So you have a suspect in a crime, in a possible crime, and you bring them before the court and you have them testify. But instead of holding them while you investigate their claims, you just let them go. Let them go out and go about their business so that they can run away. Really? This is medieval times, man. This is the Dark Ages. People were put in chains and put into dungeons until they awaited trial. And you didn't just let them go about their fucking business for this exact fucking reason. So the game is telling me that my character was stupid enough to just let that guy go run wild while we go investigate his claims. Okay, sure, I guess. So there is no real end to this mission, and I knew they were gonna fuck it up. At least that's what it looks like so far, you know. Time will only tell, but basically he disappears, and now Jathal is gonna go and investigate and find him herself, she says. So that can mean a bunch of different things. That can mean that she's just, that mission's over and done with, and that's it. That mission's done now, as far as I can tell. So maybe it might come up again, or maybe it's just a kingdom mission that I have to assign her to. So I've made a decision. I am no longer going to worry about the kingdom management stuff because it is an absolute fucking drag. So, and you'd also notice I've put everything down to easy because I am so fucking tired of even worrying about this. So we're just gonna put it on auto. I don't care about the kingdom. I only care about exploring. So I'm just not gonna worry about it. Go ahead and just do whatever the hell I need to do just to have fun, because the kingdom management, I'm realizing, is just, it's making this game worse to play, and I don't want to feel like I'm angry all the time playing this game. I just want to play the fucking game. I don't want to worry about the kingdom. Fuck the kingdom. If the kingdom management shit was fun, that's one thing. It's not. It's boring. There's nothing to it, so I just don't fucking give a shit. So I'm not going to worry about it. Fuck it. I also want to point out right now that I have no clear goal. I have no clear mission. Like, what am I even doing right now? What am I supposed to be doing? I don't even know. Like, I'm waiting 137 days for the next event to happen? Like, this is so fucking boring. This is the most boring shit I've ever done. Like, I'm just trying to find fun right now. That's it. Like, I'm just trying to find something fun to do. So I'm gonna look at my journal real quick and see what it is that I'm actually supposed to be doing, because I have no idea. Like, I killed the trolls, and there's no new threat. You know what I mean? There's no new threat. I guess I have to go do this mission. The game's not telling me I need to. It's just telling me that I should. As with the other quests, when you don't do the entire quest, you fail the main mission. So I'm wondering, if I don't do a just reward, if I will fail the other shit that I'm supposed to do. And of course, here we are again with this, like, this never cleared, so obviously it didn't happen, even though I built him a laboratory. And what's so frustrating about this is that this is a very simple change. This is a very simple fix. Basically, any mission that can make you fail and make your kingdom fail, or just make you fail at the game, should be marked differently in the map. And it should be marked differently very clearly. I'm not talking about a different stamp on the paper or something like that. I'm talking about text in red letters saying, if you don't do this, you will fail, like requirement quest or something like that. It's a very easy visual thing that you could do that could fix this problem of confusion. What quest am I supposed to do? Which one's a main story quest? And so on. These are all easy questions to answer visually. I don't know. Maybe a laboratory is different than the herbalist hut. I don't know. I guess maybe I need to go take another look at that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no clear, like, goal here. Just, you know, just do shit. Go do shit. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing, right? Like, in most journal systems, they have, here's the main quest. This is the main thing that you're supposed to be doing. Go do that, right? And you can do nothing but that and just follow the whole game through and play the main mission. But in this game, it's like, nah, just get to this shit whenever you feel like it. But no, don't just get to it when you feel like it, because if you don't, you're gonna fucking lose. So why don't you tell me that? Why don't you tell me that if I don't do this thing, this urgent fucking thing, that you're gonna make me fail the game? Fucking tell me! Okay, so I had to go on the internet again to find out whether or not I was missing something. And apparently what happens is that you finish the troll quest, and then you just spend literally months of in-game time fucking around. Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? I gotta spend months of in-game time just fucking around. I don't like any of these quests that I'm doing right now. They end unsatisfactorily. The kingdom management shit is boring as fuck. I'm not having fun with this game right now. So I have to continue having not fun with this game for months of in-game time until an event finally decides that it's going to spawn. You know, this is what I find ironic. People gave Dragon Age Inquisition a lot of shit, including myself, for locking the main missions off behind power grinding. It was a way to artificially pad how long that game actually was. Because in reality, that game maybe had 7, maybe 8 main quests. It was a very short game. Like if you could find a way to maximize your power output, you could beat that game in like under 20 hours. Like no shit, right? Or if you could find a way to hack the game to just give yourself infinite power and just go through the story missions, that game is not long at all, right? And that was one of my criticisms, was that I spent a lot of time doing a bunch of side shit, and the main mission, which has urgency with quote marks, doesn't seem urgent because I'm out doing a bunch of other shit that has nothing to do with this main thing I'm supposed to be doing. This game doesn't even have the courtesy of having a main thing. Its main thing is fuck around. Its main thing is we're trying to be a pen and paper game, but we're not going to give you any direction or any story to follow. Just go fuck around and do things. Now, that might have worked in a pen and paper game where the DM can cut through a bunch of the bullshit and decide that, okay, this is what we're doing, and can spawn random events and things that are fun to do. But in a video game, I need a direction. I need to find something that is keeping me occupied with the game. Unfortunately, this game has none of that. It has a bunch of fucking around. And that's it. I am severely disappointed in this game. So this is a little disappointing. I started going into all the houses here in my town. The houses seem to have gotten an upgrade. They've gotten bigger and whatnot, which is kind of cool visually. But when you go into these places, none of the citizens have anything to say, and I realize that all the houses are they're just empty houses, essentially. A lot of them don't have anybody in them. When they do have people in them, they don't say anything to you. You can't even engage in conversation with them. And for some reason, I went into this house, whatever this house is, and when you go in there, there's a chest upstairs that has +3 full plate. And when I get struck with a melee weapon, that people get 1d4 slashing damage against them. That's a really good piece of armor to just find laying around in a chest in some random person's house where nobody lives. What the fuck? So, you know, it behooves you to go inside these houses because sometimes you'll find the best armor in the fucking game in them. But it's just odd to me that nobody says anything. There's no conversations to be had in any of these places. They're just empty. Just empty vessels. Everything is an empty vessel here. It's sad because they could have done so much with this. Like, it would have been nice if these houses were a way for you to pick up missions that you could do for the townsfolk. That way you actually felt like a baron. Like, it made you feel like a baron. Like Spider-Man makes you feel like Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, you actually feel like you were doing something. Instead, again, the game just is rife with just fucking kill missions and fetch missions. Nothing of substance. So now that I've turned off all of the kingdom management shit, let's see how this game plays. Let's see if everything that everybody's saying is true, that when you turn all that off, it's much more fun. Let's find out. So, I'm having some problems with Rest Off. They want to try and tax Oleg's trading post, and they're not giving me at all what I'm supposed to be getting, right? So, I'm going to go to Rest Off, and I'm going to see if I can actually engage in conversation with those people direct, or if I need like an advisor to go do it for me. So we're gonna find out here. Let's see if we can actually do what makes sense, like common sense. Let me go talk to them and see what the deal is. So I'm not allowed to go back to Restov? Never again. Like, I can't just go to Restov and talk to them and be like, hey, stop fucking with me, or have any kind of diplomatic relations with them. I'm not allowed to do that personally, face to face with them, without the game being like, oh, it'll end the game if you do that. Like, what? What kind of logic is that? So at this point, I've pretty much given up on just fucking around and doing things, missions, stuff like that. I've kind of just given up because literally every place that I've been to so far has just been me going into a place, killing everything there, looting bodies, and leaving. That's fucking boring. There's no story to any of these places that you go to. There's no quests, there's no nothing. You're just supposed to sit around and wait. So, guess what, game? I'm not gonna do this bullshit anymore. You've broken me. I'm going to skip 100 and some odd fucking days just so I could get to the next event. I don't care what fucking happens. I don't care what I miss. I'm sick of this shit. Are you serious? So now the game is gonna give me a chance to skip time until the next event? Okay, what is this? What is this? What is this? The Temple of Elk has been restored. What is this? Our investigation occurs well. Your barony is expanded. Now includes South Marl Marshes. Okay. This is absolutely tedious. I just want to get to the next, like, story mission. Can I do that? So, at this point, I felt like the game was actively fighting me. Like, it was keeping me from actually doing the main story mission. And when I was looking at all the barony things, like, did you notice that none of them had headlines? None of them actually had the headline of what they were actually doing as far as, like, quest and barony assignments and things like that. None of that stuff was labeled. And it gets even worse that later in the game, you'll literally have boxes that are empty and say nothing. And you'll have no idea what it was that happened. So this whole system seemed like it was half-baked, and it was made to patch a really big problem in the game for a majority of the audience that just didn't like the kingdom feature. Okay, once again, I get to a point where I'm not sure if this is a bug or a fucking feature. Normally, when I click on Manage Kingdom Affairs, I am able to manage Kingdom Affairs. But now, when I click on it, it says, do you want to skip the time until the next event? If I hit cancel, it does nothing. If I hit OK, a day passes. And I'm not sure what the fuck is going on. Is this what happens when you set it to auto? I was very confused by this whole system of automatic kingdom management. So what happened here, what you just saw, was me trying to figure out why it was that when I hit skip to the next event, it said in the output in the little menu down there at the bottom right that only a day had passed. When you can normally skip a day in the kingdom management, why it was doing it this way and not actually skipping to the next event. Because you'll have to click that table several times in order to actually get to the next event. So once again, the UI, it kind of lies to you. Sometimes you'll skip and it'll go a day passes. You'll be fatigued because for some reason you were standing around for however long time had passed, and like 10 days will go by, and sometimes 20 days will go by, sometimes 30, but no events happen. At least that you can see happening. Or at least that the game even reports to you. And then like on the 5th or 6th time you hit that table, then that little barony management screen will pop up and it'll tell you what events have passed. But it's inconsistent. And that's the common refrain that I have about this game, is that it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent in the things that it tells you. It hides certain things in the background that it should tell you, and it expects you to just know that it's not telling you these things. There's so much that is left unsaid that could explain so many things, and all they need to do is just message to the player that these sort of things are happening right now, right? It's most of this game's problems are UI related specifically, and so much of this could be fixed by just fixing the journal, so that it tells you how long it would be for you to be able to do certain quests when they will open up, not assigning you quests when you can't do them. That'll come later. But these are just a few really easy ways to fix a lot of the problems in this game. Because this is kind of shitty. This doesn't do what it's supposed to do. When I set something to auto, I expect me to not have to do shit. But this game is now telling me that instead of it being automatic, like what is said in the fucking options, I literally have to come here and manage this shit manually because the game still requires me to come back here and click on this fucking table. So I gotta go into the options and turn this off, because what I want to do, what I desire to do, is to just push through the shit and get to the end of it. What is going on? Am I not allowed to set this to non-auto anymore? It's not letting me click it. It's not letting me... What? Dude, what the fuck? Oh my god. Am I fucked now? I can't go back to non-auto? Oh my god. No, this can't be... No, come on. There's no fucking way they would do something that stupid. There's no fucking way. Because how do I know if I'm gonna like it on auto management when I hit it? Oh my god. I gotta go on the internet again. To find out. Oh my god, this game is so fucking disaster. So, apparently you can't turn off kingdom management. You're stuck with this for the rest of the fucking game. Okay, I'm getting real fucking irritated with this game and its shit fucking dialogue. God fucking damn it. I asked her a question. I said, did you steal the money? She said, I didn't steal it. I didn't take a single coin of it for myself. Please let me explain. You see, I've always dreamed of blah 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 blah. She bought a fucking print house, right? At least that's what I'm getting out of this. She hasn't actually said she did it. So I don't get a chance to say, did you or did you not steal our fucking money, right? Instead, I have to go and choose a fucking decision right now. No idea why she's doing it. No idea what benefit it would be to me. I don't get to ask her any more questions. I just get to say yes or fucking... Ugh. Oh my god. Why is everything solved in one or two dialogue choices? Can there be some depth to this dialogue system? It begins and then it ends as quickly as you could fucking possibly believe. Don't give me that look. I trusted you and you're wasting my treasury on toys. You are so sorry. Bitch, I should put you in fucking prison. I feel like I'm just running around babysitting people. I feel like that's what I'm doing. I'm just running around babysitting land, going here, killing everything, going here, killing that, coming back, listening to people complain. Is this what a king does? Because fuck that, man. Who wants to be a king? This is annoying. And this shit, I can't do anything about this. I literally have to just sit here and keep doing this to pass the time as slowly as I possibly can. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. This was a terrible way to handle this. I can't turn it off. It's like, the whole game is ruined now. I have to just live with this or go back hours from before I set it. So a good way to have fixed this problem is to not let people choose this in the middle of their game. Because the problem with this is that when you allow people to set it in the middle of the game, you're setting an expectation. If that expectation that they have fails and they have no way of reverting back those changes except to go back to an earlier save, they're not going to be happy. So you make people set the auto mechanic at the beginning of the game, and that's the only time you can set it. You either have to live with it just managing itself, or you have to restart the game. That way, people waste a hell of a lot less of their time. Now, if I was in charge of this project, and I had an unlimited budget, which I'm sure this would require at this point because this kingdom building mechanic is so coupled with everything else in this game, I would decouple this kingdom building mechanic completely from the main storyline and allow people who want to just experience the story to do that in a seamless way, and the people who want to do the kingdom building mechanic can experience the game the way you designed it. So what you just saw there was me trying for the first time to beat this encounter with these guys and losing, and then reloading, and then fully buffing my team with every buff that I could possibly find, and still losing, and even losing sooner to these 3 war wisps, okay? Now, here's the problem. I don't know what these war wisps are, right? So I'm going to have to go into the bestiary and look this up, because the game doesn't tell you on the game screen while you're fighting the fucking things what exactly they are and how they can hurt you. And in fact, I don't see a war wisp on here, so I'm just going to assume it's a will-o-wisp. And look at this big ass entry that they have for this. Now, here's the problem. This doesn't tell me anything. I mean, yes, it tells me all about the creatures, what they are, what they look like, all that shit. But it doesn't tell me anything useful. Like, what are their immunities? What kind of damage do they do? What kind of damage are they immune to? Why am I fucking dying to them constantly? Why am I not just fucking trouncing them? What level are they? What level should I be before I start trying to fight them? Anything that is fucking useful does not exist in this encyclopedia. So, once again, I have to go get my Pathfinder books and look this shit up. Okay, so here's what I'm reading in my bestiary book. I have the first edition bestiary for Pathfinder, right? Not bestiary 1 through 10, but I have the first one, okay? So, it only has an entry for will-o-wisp in here as well. But here's what it tells me. It tells me that a will-o-wisp is a challenge rating of 6. I have no idea what the fuck that means. I'm assuming it means you need to be level 6 to kill them. It says that they have an AC of 26. They have a dexterity of 29. It tells me that they're also immune to magic, so that's good to know. They're immune to all spells and spell-like abilities that allow spell resistance, except magic missiles and maze. I can magic missile them. I have plenty of those. And they have natural invisibility, so they can kind of phase in and out, right? And that's what's happening to me right now. So, okay, so they're immune to magic. Here's the thing. I'm not hitting them with magic. So now, again, I have to go on the internet and find out what war wisps are and what their abilities are and all that shit, because they're obviously different than a will-o-wisp. Okay, that's just a will-o-wisp. That's not a fucking war wisp. What the fuck, man? You're killing me here. So I can't find any information on a war wisp. Yeah, no shit. They're fucking deadly. Oh my god. So I have to have immunity from electricity. Well, let's see. How do we figure this out? So I guess there's probably a cleric spell that has immunity to electricity, because that is what's kicking my ass. So let's find out if we have anything like that, or if I have to go all the way back to town to find something like that. So energy, that isn't it. Just energy again. Acid, cold, electricity. Oh, shit. Awesome. That's exactly what I need. So we'll just go ahead and rest again. And this is all allies within a 25-foot burst centered on caster. It lasts 10 minutes. Oh, that's fucking great. Okay, so we're going to try that, and we're going to see what happens.
So, who will prevail?
Stand with me. We shall overcome.
So it would seem that, of course, having a spell that will make you basically immune to lightning damage is quite good against creatures that only attack with lightning. So yeah, that's pretty great. So I actually have a different opinion of this combat now. I think that I have been spoiled by other games that don't do shit like this, where certain enemy types will just wreck your shit if you don't go in prepared. So now I'm going to go about this game a little different. Now I'm going to be super prepared for everything. Just like I used to be with other games back in the day, I'm going to be way more prepared for what's happening from now on. So, the combat is actually pretty fucking good now that I've noticed and realized this, but the problem still remains. The problem being that in order for me to find out all the information I needed to know, I needed to go dig up a Pathfinder book. That's a problem. And that's a problem that a lot of people apparently have been having, because it's just not obvious to people, just like it wasn't obvious to me. It should have been obvious, though. I was seeing lightning arc across all of my characters and fucking just wrecking their assholes. I should have known that. I'm gonna give this game's combat a little more respect than I have in the past. It's actually pretty damn good. It requires a lot more of you than just click on this. So I'm pretty impressed. I'm digging the shit out of this so far as the combat's concerned. It took me up to now to realize it, though, and that's, I think, part of the problem. That's part of the problem. A lot of games do things where they will gate off content like this until you've learned the lessons that you need to learn, and that's Game Design 101. The game designers of this game obviously cared more about this feeling like a Pathfinder game than they did feeling like it's a game. So I think that's my biggest problem with this so far. And what's funny too is that they actually did something really fun and really smart at the beginning of this mission. They introduced you with one will-o-wisp. One will-o-wisp that you should be able to kill without dying, right? They did that so that you wouldn't immediately get your shit pushed in, that you would see, oh, there's will-o-wisp here. Maybe I might want to put up some lightning resistance, right? But I wasn't thinking in that mind frame at the time. So I'm going to start paying way more attention to the combat, because that seems to be the best thing about this game. Now that I've experienced what it can be like and what it requires of you as a player. I'm kind of fascinated by it now. I kind of want to go back in time and play the game again with this newfound knowledge. So I know what you're saying right now. You're saying, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Does he not know about the inspect key? Well, yeah. I didn't know about the inspect key. Here's a funny story. I was editing all this footage together, and a thought occurred to me. I said to myself, wait a minute. What if there's actually a key for this? I had written all this dialogue and everything for it, and I ended up having to go back through the video and erase it because I went into the game as I was editing all of this, and the first tutorial screen on a loading screen that popped up was, hit the Y key to inspect creatures. I hit the Y key, and wouldn't you know, all the information for that creature displayed prominently for me. Now, I want to talk about UX, right? Like, UX design is or UX research at least, is the research into player behavior, right? So players typically, they don't go through all the options and read what each and every single key does. The reason why is that most players don't have a need for that. Ever since games stopped coming with manuals, people stopped caring about what things do what. Tutorialization in games as well has made it so that people just expect the game to tell them what it is they can do if it's important enough to know. We find that in research that a lot of players don't even look at the options menus unless they come up against a problem that they want to find a solution for, right? But this is a problem that I was just assuming there wasn't a solution for. So what I propose here is that first mission in the castle, when it's being attacked in the very beginning of the game, the first enemy that you fight, the first thing that the game should tell you to do is hit Y to inspect before you could do anything. Just that tutorial alone would change the tide of most combat scenarios in favor of the player, because they have access to information they wouldn't know they already had. Now, I'm willing to admit that not seeing a key and all that stuff, that's probably my fault, and it's probably every player's fault that doesn't do that, but that's not the point. Like, UX design is trying to predict player behavior so that they can design systems that will keep the player from hurting their own experience, right? That's the goal here. And as far as I could tell, in the first mission where they do this tutorialization, which they do, they don't mention at all that you can inspect monsters, which this is the perfect time to do it. They may mention it later on in the game, but by that time, chances are the player's already hit disable tutorials because they get in the way and they're annoying. So when you're designing tutorials, you really have to design them to be compact, quick explanations, not huge big pages of text. And the best way to tutorialize is to do it by example, actively. Telling players they could do this and then allowing them to do that, or setting up a scenario where if they don't inspect this person, they might not find out that their immunity is this and they can't progress. Those are ways that you can tutorialize a thing, right? I don't know if they're the best options or not, but it's better than not knowing at all. There was something that felt incomplete about that mission. Now, first I want to start off with the positive here because I feel like I've been on the negative way too much. So I want to start with something positive about this. That was a pretty damn good mission. From the structure of what enemies are around you, the fact that I had to actually think about like what items I was using, what spells I was using, all that stuff, to even just like the enemy types, the motivation of the main villain there in that story, all of that stuff was superb. I thought that was just fantastic. But there's something that felt very incomplete at the end there. And that's the fact that no matter what I discovered over here, which is what I thought I was supposed to discover, the fact that I discovered that it's Nasagag Yag Satov Nagasyata, whatever the fuck it is, that's not the god he thinks it is. And even though I discovered that and then went back to talk to him, I didn't get a chance to tell him, hey, dude, this god that you're thinking of bringing through is actually an elder god. He's going to kill you. He's just manipulating you. I didn't get a chance to say that, and I have a feeling it's probably because my stats aren't high enough in some regard, or I just didn't pass a religion check. But that's kind of the problem with a lot of the missions in this game, is that I can never be sure why I can't do a specific thing, and it makes it very difficult to do an analysis of this game when the game's not giving you information about why you failed to do a certain thing. And I can only imagine what it's like to play as a brand new player to these types of games. It must be absolutely befuddling. Because I can only imagine, like, if it's giving me a hard time, and I've played nothing but D&D probably since I was a teenager, I can't imagine what it's doing to other people. I can't imagine what it's doing to brand new players. It's just something that I wanted to point out. Like, because that could have been a really cool mission if I was able to bring up the fact that he's worshiping another god than he thinks he is. Just even if I could bring it up. You know, if I could bring it up, then I would have felt really satisfied. Even if I didn't convince him that he was wrong, I would have still been satisfied by the fact that I could bring that up. But, of course, that's not something I could do. Okay, so finally, the second part of this quest, the Bald Hilltop quest, has begun. From what I understand from reading on the internet, because unfortunately that's what I needed to do to figure out the fuck's going on, I have to finish this in order to get to the next part of the game. But in order to get to the next part of the game, I had to wait all of those days before it would happen. So here we go. We're gonna finally get to do the last part of this fucking game, or at least the last part of this chapter. I think I'm only on chapter 3, and I think there's 7 chapters. I mean, this game is overly long. I've heard some reports that it took people over 140 hours to complete. That's just too much. So unlike in other games where when you rest in a safe location, you don't have to worry about status effects, they just go away. Unlike that convenience, some of these effects are permanent, like until you actually cure them with a spell. The problem that I have with that is that you're not able to do that in town, right? So you literally have to go to a place, remove all of the spells in your spell slots, replace them with remove blindness, rest, remove the blindness, and then you could go do whatever it is you need to do. Because right there, I just screwed myself. I started that mission without having removed the blindness first. There's certain things that, like, I get with this game. Like, I totally understand that they want this to be a really authentic experience and everything, and I get it, but there's just certain things that are from pen and paper that just don't really work. They're just not fun or engaging to do in a video game. Pen and paper game totally works because there's not systems that are hard and rigid that keep you from doing certain things. There's hard and rigid things in a video game that a DM just can't just go, nah, you can ignore that. Go ahead, you can rest there, it's fine.
What do you
Let's
think?
just clear your blindness.
We're all meant
right?
to die.
But that doesn't happen in a game. If it's a hard and rigid rule, that's it. Really, to fix that, they should have just allowed status effects like this to just fall off when you rest in a safe place, meaning back at town, in an inn, or in your own bed. Oh, for fuck's sakes. See what I mean? Alright, I can die. Make sure you die. Yes, make sure that you walk back and forth until you die. Cool, good job, dude. Laura, I just want to remind you that all I wanted to do was just remove my fucking blindness. And here I am dealing with this shit. And this happens a lot in pen and paper as well, so I'm not gonna really complain that much, but it's fucking annoying. Sorry. Like, this kind of shit is super annoying.
Your life.
Look, she's not even using her sword. This is what I mean. Like, is she using a sword right now? Like, do you have your sword equipped? I can't tell. I feel like nobody was using their sword just now because nobody had it in their hands. Try this one more fucking time. Alright. Hopefully that worked. Okay. I still have to rest one more time in order to heal everybody's blindness because just don't have enough spell slots for that. What you're doing is you're just adding inconvenience to this whole process.
And again, this is something that can be handled within the options menu. Like, status effects clear when you rest in a safe place. Like, you can make that the easy or normal difficulty default, right? But as far as I can tell, there's no way to turn that on or off in the options. So that's just like a quality of life thing for people who don't want to deal with that, right? And you can make it even better by making it so that whenever you rest, right? For the people who just want to play the story and don't want to have to run back and forth from town to town to get, 50 scrolls of restoration. Quality of life. Quality of life. Say it with me. Quality of life.
So while I was doing this, while I was healing my blindness, my kingdom stats went down because ravenous man-eaters are still rampaging and I haven't started the main quest yet because I'm too busy doing this stupid shit. Healing fucking blindness. Oh my god, this game. That mission was pretty damn good. Now I'm gonna see what the ending of the mission was, but it was pretty good. I liked the combat was really good. I had to really, stay on top of things. I had to be on my toes. Nothing was too overwhelming. Nothing absolutely shredded my group. I had to make use of buffs. As you can see here, I had a bunch of buffs. I had more than this on all of my characters at all time. They used the time limit to great effect, actually, in this one, because I was constantly aware that if I rested too much, I wasn't going to get all of the trophies. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. But it seemed true, and therefore was very careful about resting. So instead, I actually started using some of the items in my inventory, like potions and things that I wouldn't normally use, healing spell scrolls, spell scrolls in general. I made use of a lot of different things in order to stay ahead of everybody else who was hunting. That was great. That was a great example of what this game can be like when the frustration sort of isn't in the foreground. So that's great. I really enjoyed that mission.
I'm not afraid.
I just have a minor complaint here about this mission, and I figure since I've been complaining so much, I might as well complain about this. When I first came to this mission area, it was daytime. And I came in here and I walked all around, and I couldn't find anybody because the place was completely empty in the daytime. I walked around, couldn't find anything, and I was like, okay, I guess I have to come back here at night. So I had to exit the level, watch a loading screen, wait for the map to load in, hit rest, because I couldn't rest here. The game wouldn't let me rest here and just do it the easy way. I had to go outside, rest outside, pick nighttime, so not even rest, just wait, come back in, and now it spawns. It's just one of those like little things where it could have been solved by a little icon right here that you click that says wait until night. Simple as that, guys. Simple as that. Not gonna lie, blowing up all them people with that fucking fireball was great. I'm not gonna lie, that shit was fantastic. Oh my god, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing like 30 people come running at you just to watch them all just go kaplooey, just burst in flames. Body parts flying everywhere. It's fantastic. Reminds me of Nam. Something I'm starting to notice right now is that from this point on, all of the missions that I have done so far have been great. Now, I don't know if that's an effect of me just turning the kingdom management shit onto auto and not having to worry about it, or if it's an effect of the fact that just the mission structure and everything else just got better. But I've noticed that I'm less confused now than I was before about what I'm supposed to be doing at any given time. So it seems like just the writing of the quests has gotten better all of a sudden, which is great, because now I'm actually enjoying myself. Alright, so here's the situation now that I fully understand what's going on here. When you set the kingdom management to auto, here's what happens. Instead of you just wandering around for hundreds of days exploring the map and doing little inane side quest stuff, you will basically click the table as many times as you need to until somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I got a new mission for you. And then you start doing the mission. Here is the problem with that. Every time you click that table, a day passes. Now, not just a day passes. A day passes without you getting any sleep. So you get fatigued and you become exhausted. If that happens and a mission begins immediately after you've done that and you haven't had a chance to sleep, guess what you are? That's right, fucked.
Fritz, knock, that's who. And the next day, proof. I found nest, untouched with eggs. It be a sign.
Alright, once again, the dialogue here rears its ugly fucking head. I don't know anything about what these guys are doing here. Like, I know the minimal amount of information. They're worshipping some Lamashtu. There's some chief that's being an asshole. Knowing some very little bit of information, I am supposed to now make a decision. But of course, this decision is an alignment choice. So, while these are typically evil creatures, I only have the choice of letting them live. Because if I go chaotic evil and kill them, or lawful neutral and kill them, well, then I start to become more lawful neutral than I am lawful good. And I don't even get to ask any questions like, what are your plans if I let you live? Will you promise to stay in line? Things like that. I don't even get to pursue that line of questioning. I just have to make a decision. So I'm gonna kill them, because why would I take a chance? It doesn't make any sense. It's funny, it's when the game gives me no choice, but because I have no information about what a creature's plans are, and it gives me a choice of whether or not to kill them, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna kill them, because like if I don't know anything about what their plans are, what they're doing here, any of that stuff, I'm gonna kill them. But it's like, you want that to be a moral choice? That's not a moral choice, that's a lack of information. So the game wants me to, and I quote, come back to the Shrine of Lamashtu on Moon Day, whatever that is, the first day of a week. So, the first day of a week. How exactly would I figure out what the first day of a week is? Well, your guess is as good as mine, because I have no fucking clue. I open up the camp menu. I'm not seeing anything about days of the week. There's just no information here. There's just no information here. So, I kind of don't have any choice but to continue resting over and over and over again until I stumble upon the day of the week that I'm supposed to actually go there. Because neither does the journal or any other information is given to me for me to know otherwise. So I can't make an informed decision aside from rest, come in here, watch a load screen, talk to the dude, find out this ain't the day, go back out, rest, watch another load screen, come back in, watch another load screen, talk to the guy. Oh my god, this is so fucking bad. This is so bad. This is like simple shit right here. I got to, once again, a pattern is forming here. Once again, I have to go on the internet to find information that should be contained in the fucking game. All I did was put in first day, and it was like, first day of the week. Yep, we've got plenty of results for that. I want to include this footage because I want you guys to see that I'm not the only one having this fucking problem. This is a big problem. The far closest thing to calendars I've seen, hold on a minute, god damn it. First thing I've seen are the counters at the top of the kingdom planning and camping screens, but neither list like what day of the week it is. Is there a more sensible calendar somewhere? The controls menu says that there's one behind the C key, went in kingdom planning mode, but it isn't coming up for me. I was just looking for this myself. Since I couldn't find any info about it, I just went there and it worked. I don't know, I don't think the first of the week means anything. Might be they wanted days to be in the game. I mean, just look at all this stuff. This is a bunch of people just like guessing what it is, but not being sure. I mean, it's stupid. Unknown day of the week. The deadline for dealing... Oh my god, okay. Well, I don't know. I have no idea how to figure this out. So here's what I have to do, and you're gonna get to watch every bit of it. I am going to have to camp until it works. Hooray! B-roll footage of me resting and countlessly going in and out of this fucking place. Fucking finally, what a goddamn chore that was, man. You guys, like, seriously, all this would have taken is a wait here until Moon Day icon. I know I've said this twice now, but that's literally all it would have taken for this to not have been a fucking chore. It's...
did as you asked.
Now that was actually an example of what I would call a good mission. Like, it was well written, the structure was really nice, it wasn't solved with a single dialogue choice, there was levels to it. I actually felt like I was actively investigating, and I actually felt like I didn't know who was responsible at first. Like, when I finally stumbled onto the fact that there was somebody in the back room and that they were working for those two people, I actually thought it was the two people until I saw that she had a limp. I actually felt like I solved that, not that I just picked the choice. And it wasn't obvious, it was just really well done. So what this tells me is that Owlcat is more than capable of doing this kind of thing. The problem is they had way too much to do. They had way too many quests to design, way too many quests to write, way too much dialogue, way too much padding and filler. And if they hadn't done any of the filler stuff, made a smaller map with less shit on it, they would have been able to make probably one of the best RPGs of this year. That's a shame. That's a real shame. It's a real miss. Because this moment really shows me that there are times when this game absolutely shines. And then there's other times when it's just terrible. And unfortunately, it's all due to the fact of the size and scope of this game was just too much for them to handle. It's a goddamn shame. Once again, a single dialogue choice solves all problems. Not a series of dialogue choices back and forth with the rioters to try and calm them down and talk sense into them. No, just one dialogue choice saves the day. So at the close of day 5, I feel like I've learned a lot about this game. There's a lot of things that I do actually like about it, but it's a shame because it's far outweighed by the things I dislike, unfortunately, and a lot of it comes down to, I guess what I can describe as lazy design. Just lazy design that puts all of the onus on the player and none of the onus on the systems that are there to support the player. Just some of the very obvious design choices that were just obviously bad that got left in there because it would just be easier to leave them that way. The fact that you could tell that Owlcat actually is capable of doing good quests, but for some reason choose not to 90% of the time. The fact that they are capable of doing good dialogue at times, but again, 90% of the time choose not to. It just smacks of overwhelming the designers with way too much work. I work in the industry, so I know how these things go down. When you have too much to do, it's not a fact of you're working too hard, you're working too many hours. Of course, there is that issue. It's the fact that there's only so many hours in the day. So when you see that they were struggling, basically, to get that much done, it makes me wonder how many hours these people were working a day. I've worked at places, just in being in IT, where people will sleep at their desks. Now, I'm not saying they do that at EA. I've never seen anybody do that at EA. I'm sure people do. It's funny to me. They tried to do this much with this game, succeeded in doing that much, but at what cost? The cost was the quality of the game. And if they had just done less, the quality of the game would have been so much better. I think that there's a problem in game design now, where what's being required of video games now is these big sweeping worlds full of shit to do. And what ends up happening is that these games get designed with a checklist series of designs, where we gotta have side quests, and we gotta have a certain amount of side quests, and we gotta have a certain amount of landmass for people to explore, because people like to explore, right? And it's just like all you're doing is just putting in the same thing that everybody else is putting in. And it waters down the quality of everything else around it. Now, I know I've said this in other game reviews, and a lot of people snort at that, and they go, yeah, you're just miserable because you don't like video games, or whatever the fuck the reason people get pissed off at me for having an opinion. But the reason I did this review this way is so that you can see firsthand every single thing that I'm talking about. Oftentimes when I'm doing these reviews, a lot of these little tiny issues, I don't even write them down because it would take too much work to sit and write them down. And I figured showing you the issues as I'm experiencing them, seeing my thought processes while I'm doing it, and seeing how these issues can cause the issues that they cause, might help you understand why I come to the conclusions that I come to. Okay, so day 6. Funny story. I was actually looking forward to playing this game now. So I think that we might be over the initial, I don't know, growing pains, I guess we'll call it, of the initial journey up to this point. I'm no longer feeling like I have to complain like every 5 minutes about something. So that is progress. Apparently I've spotted peaceful travelers. Oh shit, please let me find this Dragon Lich. Oh my god. This will become immediately my favorite fucking game ever made if you will let me find this fucking Dragon Lich. Oh my god, here we go. I couldn't, oh. God damn it. Game! Why must you shit on all of my hopes and my fucking dreams? Why? Why must you shit on my hopes and dreams?
I shall not falter.
How in the fuck was I supposed to do anything about that? Okay, let's try to figure out what it was that happened here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We had over 21 enemies attacking us all at once.
I shall not falter. Hold on, just a little more.
This is for you! I'll fight if I have to.
You forced my hand. You forced my hand.
Now I'm embarrassed.
So here's a fun fact. Web traps, they can last fucking forever. I stepped away, like, let's say 5 minutes ago because he and her were both caught in that web trap. He is still caught in that web trap 5 minutes fucking later. Alright, so we're gonna have to control fireball his ass. Hopefully that just destroys the web. And it doesn't. So fire doesn't destroy the web. Let's just hit him with a fireball. Fuck it. That hit him with a fireball, but didn't get him out of the fucking web. So is he just doomed to never be able to get out of this fucking web? Okay, so here's a bug report that was reported in 2018. Funny as hell. So if you happen to be very low dexterity on one of your characters and gets hit by a permanent dexterity debuff and then stuck in a trap, then just hope you got a spell scroll or other to unhinder because he is getting stuck permanently stunned.
So look, I understand exactly what you're going for here, Alcat, but I want to speak to you directly right now. Some things just don't translate to games. And I know that you think that this isn't a bug. I know that you designed it purposely that way. It's not about it being designed that way. It's about it being needlessly a pain in the ass and not making any logical sense. So it's like you want to adhere strictly to the rules of Pathfinder, right? Well, in Pathfinder, I can burn away web. This web is not made of glass. It's not made of crystal. It's made of fucking web. If I set fire to it, it should burn away, right? So if you're going to have a strict adherence to the rules, have a strict adherence to the rules. The other problem is that it's inconsistent. So other permanent effects will not fall off if I rest. But for some reason, if I rest, the permanent web effect will fall off. That doesn't make any logical sense. It's permanent, right? Do you see what I'm saying here? You don't even have logical consistency in your own rule set.
I have come to a place in this game now where I'm stuck, right? There was no safe place to rest in the city because the city was in fucking ruins, so I couldn't rest there. There's no place to rest on the way here, and I'm thinking the entire time that I'm under some kind of time limit. Like, I have to get to this, or shit's gonna go real bad in the kingdom, right? I wasn't able to rest. My guys are completely fucked right now. They need to rest in a safe place and get restored. And the only place I could do that is Oleg's trading post, which is 2 days and 14 hours away. And it's not just that it's 2 days away, it's that it's 2 days away and however much away it is for me to do camping and all that shit on the way. I really hope nothing fucking bad happens to the kingdom, because there's really nothing I can do about this right now. Oh my god, come on! I just want to... The lack of towns in this game is astounding. I really don't understand what the point of not having towns in this game is.
I'm not afraid.
Repent!
So, what I have learned from this experience is that not only do you need to have... Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Seriously? Come the fuck on, is there not one way to get across this fucking river? Oh my god, look. Okay. I'm trying not to lose my shit here. But it's real fucking hard, man. It's real fucking hard to not lose your shit. Oh, motherfucker, I'm so goddamn mad right now, dude. I can't even fucking stand it. I'm so fucking mad right now. Oh, boy. Okay. Having what you think is enough supplies is not enough supplies. I had 20, count them, 20 healing scrolls. 20 of them. That was nowhere near enough. I had 10 camping supplies. My fault. Didn't realize that wasn't gonna be enough. It definitely fucking wasn't enough. So here I am, paying the fucking price for it. Never again will I ever leave town without the maximum amount of shit that I can afford to take with me. That's what I have learned. Because you never know when the game is gonna screw you out of being able to resupply. Which it just has. Screwed me completely out of being able to resupply. And can I ask, camping supplies and rations? Camping supplies and rations. Why? Why are they fucking bundled together? You don't use the camping supplies every time you camp. You only use them when you're in a place where you can't hunt. So why aren't they just rations? And why do they weigh 10 fucking pounds? Shit's ridiculous. You can't bring the amount that you fucking need, because it weighs you down. I'm literally going to be carrying 300 pounds of shit that I don't need to carry. Alright, so I basically bought out everything that this guy has that's of any kind of use. I'm just going to have to stock up on these motherfuckers and carry about 56 pounds worth of the motherfuckers with me. Unfortunately, I am not seeing anything for antidotes, which really sucks ass because, man, are those things numerous in this place that I'm in currently. So I might as well just buy a shitload more of these. Like, I have no place to resupply, and this guy has shit. This guy has nothing. I'm fucked. I'm completely fucked right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to even finish. At least I'll be able to rest somewhere safe, hopefully. Hopefully they haven't disabled being able to rest here. That would, oh my god, that would break my heart. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. I mean, this really points to how careful you need to be when you're designing your quests, man. Because I can see an instance where this would have completely destroyed somebody's playthrough. Look at the amount of dexterity and constitution that my fucking guy has right now. I'm having to use so many of these restoration potions to get him back to where he needs to be. God, I thought I only needed a few. I'm glad I know better. I'm glad that I know how bad this game likes to fuck you. Because, my god, does it like to fuck you. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, but this is absolutely ridiculous. You know what my favorite part of a role-playing game is? Having to do this kind of shit constantly and all the time. It's great. It's so much fun. So much fun. Doesn't this look like fun? I can understand having one or two of those spiders that use that venom that basically can kill you. But I've run into no less than fucking 40 of these goddamn things in this place. No less than 40. And they have killed me several times. Not just once or twice. Fucking several. Because you can't chug potions in the middle of a fight. You can't chug a bunch of restoration potions in the middle of a fight.
A trespasser. You sought a kingdom. I seek something simpler. Apology.
Get ready. Learn this.
As you sought to steal a kingdom for yourself, so must you do again. 1,000 times over. For a theft, a true theft, must be practiced to be earned.
I'm gonna see if I can put this on easy. The easiest mode there possibly can be, because it requires a diamond to resurrect somebody. And even on the easiest difficulty, it still requires a fucking diamond to resurrect someone. Do I have a scroll? Oh my god, I do have a scroll. I wonder if the scroll requires a fucking diamond as well. Oh, thank god it doesn't. Alright.
Yes.
Did you notice that even though she was dead, she came back with all of her debuffs on? Thanks, game. You're a fucking asshole. Wow. That was an absolute ordeal. I gotta say that overall, that mission was a lot of fun. Had a lot of different levels to it. Like I said, I kind of like that kind of thing. It definitely had way more depth than just about any other mission that I've partaken in so far. Problem is, those fights were not very well balanced. I mean, every single thing in there applied constitution and dexterity damage. So I basically had to use all 35 of the potions of restoration that I had gotten. I had to use all 30 fucking 5 of them in order to just make it out alive. That's a little crazy, man. That's a little fucking crazy. So, but overall, that was fun. That was a lot of fucking fun. I had a great time. So, I gotta say, from where this game started to where it is currently, it's fantastic now. This game went from being the worst experience I have ever had to being one of the best experiences I've had in a very long time. That says a lot, because the first 10 to 15 hours of this game is an absolute slog. But once you get past that, man, is this shit fun. Oh my god, is it fucking fun. And I can't wait to play it a second time with a different kind of character, just to see if there's a different outcomes for some of these missions. Because I'm pretty sure there is. I mean, I gotta say, bad first impression. After that first impression's over, whew, the game gets real good after that. But it's a matter of whether or not you could get past those first impressions. First impressions are real hard to get past. Real hard to get past. I wanted to give up several times in this review and just say, fuck it, I'm not doing this review. Like, that's how bad it was. So, I'm real conflicted, man. It's like, on one hand, I want to recommend this game, but on the other hand, I know how much pain and frustration I was in playing it the entire time. So, I'm real conflicted. This is what, day 7 now? Unfortunately, I have bought out all of Bakken, whatever his name is. I've bought out all his stock and used all of the restoration potions in that dungeon. I mean, every single one of them. And now I have to rely on scrolls, which are real expensive. Scrolls of restoration, not even lesser restoration, because that doesn't work. On permanent effects, at least that's what it says on the scroll. So basically I have to go through the rest of however long it takes for him to replenish his stock without potions of restoration. Not to mention potions of like antidote and shit like that. The problem with that is that every single enemy that I have run across in this chapter is poisonous. Like, every one of them adds permanent afflictions to your character. So it's real difficult to get through 1 or 2 fights without having an affliction on you. And unfortunately, these afflictions hit you for a lot of status affliction damage, because the poison that they inflicts that damage on you every turn or so. So you have to make a fortitude save each time, but unfortunately some of them are constitution based, and I believe that brings your fortitude saves down. So yeah, get fucked, kid. And the other problem with this is that this interface here is not very good at telling you when your characters are low on any given stat. The only way you know is when your character dies. And that's it. So what the game's expecting you to do in the middle of a fight is like click the character and hit C and like look at their stats and say, oh, okay, he's getting low, I guess I better hit him with a restoration. It's ridiculous. And the other thing is like, look how much my alignment has shifted simply because I cannot always pick a lawful good response. Like, I'm about to shift over into neutral good. And like, through no fault of my own, completely the game's fucking fault as far as I'm concerned, because you haven't given me a chance to use lawful good responses. So, as far as I know, when you shift alignments, you basically lose all of your powers as a paladin, because your god no longer speaks to you. Now, I could be wrong, but that's how I remember it working. So, I have to keep a really close eye on my alignment now for things that are just outside of my control. Again, the dialogue rears its ugly head. Neutral good. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've gotten a lawful good response choice. It's mostly neutral good and chaotic good. Like, I literally, I don't know how I'm supposed to keep my alignment. Like, do I choose neutral? Like, if I choose neutral, then does the circle come back around the circle? I don't know. I don't know for a fact. And the alignment shifts so minutely that I'm just not sure what I should do right now. This is the problem that persists throughout this game. I constantly am saying, I don't know. And I'm constantly having to go out on the internet, find the information that should be in the game. So, this is kind of a kick in the nuts, right? So, I saw that there was a town not too far away from me. It's Magar Varn's town of Varnhold, right? I come here thinking, oh, maybe there's another place I can come to resupply. Only to find out that literally there's not a single building in here that I can enter, not a single merchant in the entire town, and all I get out of Magar Varn is a couple lines of dialogue. Like, what is the point of this town? There's no trade to be had here. I'm forced to come here instead of going wherever the hell I want. Like, if Varnhold opens up later and becomes, like, a bigger deal, right? Then don't show me Varnhold. Don't even let me go there. Don't waste my fucking time. Now, the part that I don't understand is that here's this thing that I'm supposed to be doing, right? It says, he's searching for his brother Tommen. The missing man was last seen in our capital. He'd meant to head for Varnhold, but never made it there. So I'm thinking, I gotta go on my way to Varnhold. Maybe somebody had seen something on the way. But no, nothing. I came here for no fucking reason at all.
We should gather our strength.
So, I just don't know why this game wastes my time all the fucking time. Like, if I was supposed to search my town, maybe make that a little more clear to me? Because if you tell me he was on his way to Varnhold, I'm thinking he left my town. But it's so, the quest entries, and this is part of the problem, is that they're so vaguely worded that you really just have no idea what it is you're supposed to do, let alone even where to start looking. So it says, he's searching for his brother Tommen. The missing man was last seen in our capital. He'd meant to head for Varnhold, but never made it there. So does that mean he meant to go to Varnhold, but never left my town? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they had said, never, instead of never made it there, but that he was never seen leaving the town, then I know that he's in the town. And I gotta look there for him. Instead of giving me this vague shit and then having me travel all the way across the fucking map on a wild goose chase.
Bring it!
And here we go. Here's another... this is another reason why I say these poison creatures are getting on my fucking nerves, because there's so much goddamn poison in this area that anytime one of these creatures hits me, I'm just gonna assume I've lost some constitution. Anyway, fun. So I just wasted a shitload of time running all around town trying to find out where this guy went. So I was right. It is in Varnhold's lands, except that, and this is just the most infuriating thing about all of this, okay? I have no other main quests to follow. This is the only one. Here's the problem. I had to go on the internet, again, what is this, like the 20th fucking time I've said this, to find out where the hell this place is. It's in Varnhold, except you can't get there. And you won't be able to get there without an escort for several weeks after they've already given you the fucking mission. What the fuck? Why? Why? Who in their right mind would design a fucking quest like this? Who would design a quest that you can't even fucking do for a certain amount of time? Why would you give me the quest when I can't even fucking do it? Why would you waste my fucking time like that? I'm fucking flabbergasted by this game. There, like I said earlier on in this video, there are times in this game shines like a fucking jewel, and there's other times when it's dog shit. And this is just another in a fucking many line of reasons why this game is fucking broken. And it's not even broken in a traditional way, like buggy, you know, quest break or whatever. Not anymore. It used to be that way. It's just broken from a logic standpoint. Like, I cannot, for the life of me, logic up a reason why anyone would design a quest like this. It's fucking ridiculous. And I know what you're probably saying right now. Well, why don't you just click the table and wait? That's not the fucking point. Dude in the comments with your come hither lips. The point is that I don't know that I'm supposed to wait weeks. I don't know if this guy's in my town or not. I don't know if he's laying in a ditch somewhere on the side of the street on the way there. The point is I don't know what the game fucking expects of me as a player. That's a problem. There's no logical reason why you would give me a quest before I can actually fucking do it. And that's not to say that you can't give me a quest that's out of my level. Fine, whatever. It'll just sit in my fucking quest journal. right? Like, look at The Witcher 3. When The Witcher 3 doesn't want you to do a quest, it tells you what level you need to be to do it, right? And I still hate that there's all these quests in my journal that I can't fucking do, but at least I know I can't do them. At least I don't waste my fucking time trying to do a goddamn quest that I can never fucking do. Because I haven't met some arbitrary time limit that the game has going on in the background. And it wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so bad if I literally didn't have to wander around and do fucking nothing for days at a time when I'm in the kingdom management, when it's not auto. But it's even worse when I have to sit there, click the table, click the table, click the table, click the table, waiting as weeks go by, one click at a fucking time. So once again, I've gotten another mission that I'm not exactly sure I can actually do because it's in Varnhold once again. And I could take the chance of crossing all of this here and see if there's a way over, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste my fucking time. I'm going to do the smart thing and just fucking wait. I'm going to wait for the game to tell me I can go to Varnhold. And if it never tells me I can go to Varnhold, then you know what? I think this is where I stop playing the fucking game. Really. I'm that fed up with the bullshit and the wasting of my fucking time, because honestly, I don't have that much life left to live, you know? I'm getting old. I'm getting too old for this shit. But seriously, man, this game loves to waste your fucking time. Alright, I thought I was going to be able to get through this fight without an annoyance, but you see how fucking huge this water elemental is? Because his hitbox is so fucking big, it starts here, right? And it goes all the way over here. So, the only choice that I have, and because I snapped to her fucking hitbox too, and her hitbox is too fucking big, I can't place this fireball where I want. So I either have to target it on him, or I gotta target it on her. And unfortunately, what I want to do is hit all of these guys and him and her with a fireball, but I just cannot place it anywhere that makes sense. I want to get your opinion on this, because now that I've just passed the threshold of Chapter 5, I guess this is now, I have read online, because I had no idea, so I had to go out and look, because I made my character a longsword paladin, right? Longsword is like your best bet when it comes to CRPGs, because there's always more longswords than basically any other weapon in the game.
It's the most common weapon ever.
I mean, it is, really. But I'll tell you, I've found no less than 4 different bastard swords with like really good properties. I've found no less than 3 great swords with really good properties, maces, daggers, kukris out the fucking ass, all these exotic fucking weapons, but not a single fucking longsword of note. A +1 at most, and a cold iron one for killing demons, which I don't think I've fucking fought one demon in this entire game so far, so that's completely pointless. But I've heard that in Chapter 5 you get access to longswords that are like +5, so what do you think about that?
It takes 5 chapters to get the most common weapon ever. Knights used them, for fuck's sakes.
Man, this game has tried at every turn to force me to quit. And I'm just not willing to fucking do it, man. You're not gonna beat me, game. You're not gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna win, you fuck.
It doesn't want to be played. It wants you to give up.
You're not gonna win, game. I've beaten shittier games than you, friend. You will not win. I will win! I am your master! I don't understand this. Like, so, there's chaotic good and chaotic evil choices here. And a choice that if I was, writing this would be chaotic neutral. My, a talking crow. Now, if you said anything worth hearing, that'd be impressive indeed. Right? Sounds like something a chaotic neutral person would say, right? But instead, it's these two choices, and this one right here, which is I don't care where they go or what happens to them, is somehow not a neutral option. That's your way to not shift your alignment, right? And you don't know this because you haven't been watching that long, right? But my alignment is fucking borderline shifted. I'm finding that this game is much better played with just having a website open with a walkthrough on it. I feel ashamed that I even need to do that. But the fact of the matter is, there's so many obtuse and frankly opaque systems in this game that the game doesn't inform you of correctly. Now, there might be something in a loading screen that says this, but I found out that quite a few of these subquest missions and quite a few of some of the main things that you need to do in a game, they don't pop up unless you pass a perception check. So let's just say that, for instance, you needed to go to this ruined tower here for a mission. But the first time you passed this area, you didn't pass a perception check. And instead of, going from here to here and here and here again to find it, you don't know that that ruined tower is there. You just know that it's somewhere here in Dunsward, right? So you're just searching all around Dunsward at this point, looking for something that's here that you've already passed, but it just so happened to not pop up when you did your perception check the first time. So there's a good chance that you may never pop back over here to find this, right? And I've actually seen this with some of the main areas in the game where it's like, can you imagine being a DM who works on a campaign for like 5 months and all your friends are going down the road and everything and they miss a perception check, but because they missed that perception check, they didn't get to experience a whole part of your module? Do you think that that DM is going to just be willing to let that go? Do you think that that DM is going to be like, that's okay? Yeah, they could just miss that whole part of the quest. It's fine. I mean, I worked on it for a month, but, whatever. They didn't see it. No. Most likely, the DM is going to tell them in some way by either redirecting them there or by clues or just creating an NPC out of thin air that will direct them to that area and that location so that they don't miss that content, right? Because that DM worked very hard on that, and they don't want them to miss that content, right? And that's part of the problem with this, is that it's very easy to miss content in this game because you just didn't pass a check that you didn't even know was happening. And that's part of the problem. See, when you design a game like a pen and paper game, the way that they did, they're trying to be as close to pen and paper as they possibly can, and there's a couple of problems with that. First problem is that a video game is a very rigid system. It's either yes or it's no. You either pass or you fail. There's some room for grays in between, but the way that this game is designed, it's like if you fail that first time, you fail. And in respect to these perception checks, if you fail the first time, you have to just inherently know that you got to go down this road 2 or 3 times maybe before you actually see something pop up. That's just not intuitive to a person. So what a DM will do is you'll go past something and they'll say, hey, roll a perception check. And when they say that, you're like, what's up with that? Why are you making me roll a perception check? That's weird, right? And then you roll a perception check. Maybe you failed, maybe you passed. But the DM's like, you don't see anything. But you know something's there, right? Now, a good DM will say, yeah, there's nothing there. And maybe there isn't anything there, right? But you're just doing that to kind of throw them off of your scent. Because you don't want them to know that every time you tell them to do a perception check that there's actually something there, right? But the game doesn't have that benefit. The game doesn't stop you and go, hey, do a perception check real quick. It doesn't do that. It just does the perception check in the background and you're none the wiser to it. So if you fail it, you don't know. You definitely want the player to know that something is up. You don't want to lead them by the nose, but at least tell them when they fail a perception check. Especially if they fail a perception check for a quest area. That's just ridiculous. I keep saying to myself, God, I wish I could stop playing this game. Because I don't like having to play with a strategy guide, because I like there to be some fucking surprise in the game. But the only surprises that I've seemed to run into in this game are surprise, you don't know where the fuck you're supposed to go next. Surprise, this system doesn't work as it should. Surprise, the quest directions in this are obtuse at best and hard to understand. Those are the only surprises I get. So I just, like, I don't want to continue playing it, but I'm, like, forcing myself to do it. I went and did a little bit of the next mission, which is in the Valley of the Dead. It takes forever to get there because you have to go through mountains, and basically the entire time it's just you waiting for the fucking icon to get to the place you're supposed to go to. It's tedious as fuck. But when I got there, I very quickly realized that all of the traps, almost all of the fights, you're going to be taking permanent ability damage. I might have gotten into the second room before I realized, like, yeah, fuck, I need to have way more supplies to prepare for this. So since none of the stores have restocked, I can't get potions, but what I did do is I spent about 70 grand on restoration scrolls, greater restoration scrolls, which are fantastic. They will clear everything, but they are really stupid expensive. As you can see, it costs about $2,200 a piece. Picked up a bunch of these kind of scrolls just for emergencies, just in case I run out of stuff. I mean, I should have plenty of potions, but you never know, man. This game has been surprisingly resource intensive. And I bought about 105 diamond dust just in case I run out of restoration scrolls, which I'm pretty sure I will, if this is anything like the last dungeon I had to do. So I picked up like 105 of that. Unfortunately, the restoration spell, it requires that you have diamond dust too, in fact. It wasn't too expensive. It was about 6 grand, I think, for all 100, but that really starts to add up a lot. So I sold off all the equipment I got from the last couple of missions, and I ended up having about 170,000 gold. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to spend it on but this kind of stuff. I don't know. It's just kind of disappointing. Like, every time you use one of these scrolls, you're just like, well, that was 2 grand. Just like, you know what I mean? Like, every time you use one of these greater restorations, you're just like, oh, yeah, I just pissed away $2,200. But anyway, this is all just in preparation of the mission that I'm going to go out on tomorrow, hopefully. So, that'll be the end of day, what is it, 7 now? Alright, this is day 7? Day 8? I don't know. I've lost track. Doesn't matter. So the next mission that I'm going to do, as I said before, I've already seen the beginning of the mission, and I did not like what I saw. Lots of status effects, cloud kill, while you're fighting fucking giant zombies. Just overall, just not a fun experience. So, and as you can see, my guys already have status effects on them, which is delightful. So we're gonna find out what exactly I can do in this mission. We're gonna find out how big of a pain in the ass it is. Just to clarify, I think that there's a way to make a challenging encounter that isn't a pain in the ass. This is definitely not the way to do it. Fuck this shit, man. What the fuck? Like, okay. So, he tells them to go to the capital, and for some reason, I have no choice but to let them go to the capital. So now I got goblins in my fucking capital causing trouble, and I had to do it. Like, I literally had to let them. I had no fucking choice. Like, I could have done a lawful evil action, which is expel them. Somehow that's a lawful evil fucking action? How is that evil to send goblins away from your fucking town? How is that an evil action? I do not understand this game. It doesn't make any sense. How is that an evil fucking action? So I tell Knock Knock to deal with the fucking problem, and he says, yeah, you guys go to the capital. And I just let them go. I have no choice but to. I can't stop them and go, no, 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 no. You're not going to the fucking Capitol. No. So I assume that you saw basically how long it took me to actually get to this place. This is part of the problem with the travel system in this game. The entire way from Lamashtu's tomb all the way to the actual location is through mountainous areas, right? So instead of making the time go by faster to signify it taking a much longer time to get through that area, and allowing your little chess piece to move faster, which would have been more convenient to the player, they make the chess piece move slower, and time goes the same amount, but you just move slower. So you have no choice but to sit there and watch as this piece goes slowly to the next location. But you also saw that I ran into no less than 4 or 5 random encounters on the way, had to rest no less than 6 times on the way there. Nothing about that whole situation screams fun to me. You know, they didn't design Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 the way that they did because of a lack of, you know, like a lack of technology or limitations on their part. They designed it the way they did because it was fun. They didn't want the game to be a fucking monotonous drag on your life and resources.
Go.
Here!
Do I even need to go into why that was bullshit? Like, literally, she has, what?
I won't let you down.
One of the highest perceptions that you could possibly have. She has fucking 20 perception. He has 18. This guy has 14, she has 14. If every one of these guys was trying to detect whether or not there was a trap here, why did none of them find it? It just seems preposterous to me that you could possibly have a person with plus 20 perception who can possibly miss that there's a fucking trap right in front of them. You saw how long I was standing there, too. That's what's so frustrating with this game. Like, am I supposed to kick something off manually that looks for traps? Is that how this works? Somebody fucking tell me something.
Face me if you dare.
Do not falter!
I was pondering what to do with this pathetic creature, Magar Varn. This fool dared to claim the lands that belong to me. You look at me as if I committed some blasphemy. Hardly. They defiled my lands, so I defiled them in turn.
Well, I gotta say, I'm surprised by that mission. It was surprisingly well done as far as the twists and turns that everything took. Surprisingly good. Even with all of the frustrations of the status effects and everything, though I still find dialogue options to be the biggest downer in this game. There's not a whole lot of good dialogue options for you. Like, that dialogue with Vorticai could have been so much better if I, the player, was able to explore more of his motivations. Also, take a look at how many days it took me to get out of this valley. Jesus Christ, it's so fucking tedious. But overall, that was a really fun mission. I mean, if this game was nothing but these kinds of missions, I think I'd be okay with that. Unfortunately, it's not. And look, a new place just revealed itself after I've already been through here twice. So I'm on chapter 5 now, and they have restocked, sort of. Some of these guys have, some of them haven't. I was hoping that I would find all manner of longsword, but to my dismay, no. I found a cold iron longsword +1, which is barely useful, because as I said, I don't think I've fought one demon yet. So cool. Yeah, the game, I don't even know what to say at this point. I've run out of things to critique. So I swore to myself I wouldn't record any more footage because I'm just kind of tired of complaining, but I ran into what is called a primal shambling mound. Now, when you go and search for this on the internet, you'll see primal shambling mound in the Temple of Elk Bloom. Primal shambling mound, unkillable. Screw you, primal shambling mound. And just all these things for this. Even a goddamn video just on killing this primal shambling mound. Now, killing it is not the problem. As you can see, the fucker is down. I've got him down. I have tried every kind of damage that I can try on this thing, right? I have tried every type of damage that I can to kill this guy. And I tried fire, ice, lightning just makes it regenerate for some reason. Fire, acid, cold, holy, I'm getting ready to try right now. We'll see if that fucking works, but literally everything I've tried has not killed this damn thing. They said try inflict wounds. Let's try inflicting some fucking wounds. How about that? Problem is, I don't think anybody has inflict wounds, so we'll have to do this. We have harm as well. That might work. Let's try inflict wounds, though. The problem is that there's a 50% chance this spell will fail, so... Nope. Didn't kill him. Inflict, let's see, did it actually hit, though? Let's see. With inflict wounds, it hit. It hit? It says spell was lost, so I can't tell if it hit or if the spell was lost. Make up your fucking mind, game. Jesus fucking Christ. This is fucking shit. Let's try 2 more. Let's waste 2 more spells on this goddamn thing. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see if it actually worked. Spell was lost again. Fucking goddamn it. Oh my god, do you see what I'm saying here with this shit? Whoa! Okay. Fucking inflict moderate wounds actually worked on that thing.
Nyrissa charmed the first faithful, promised him and all his followers a parrot, but Nyrissa ordered me only to lure you to the trap. She never forbade me to protect you. That's why I fought by your side in that battle.
So, I'm supposed to find Armag's tomb. Armag's tomb is actually right over here. I looked it up on the internet. Because as you can see, I've explored this entire area. And I've been past Armag's tomb about, I don't know, 5 times. Went past it several times, it never popped up. So, what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Oh my fucking god. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So here's the Flintlock Grasslands. Here's Armag's tomb. So, like I said, sometimes things don't pop up. It's a perception of 24. Sometimes things just don't pop up for you. And if I hadn't looked this up, I would never know where Armag's tomb is. Here's the thing. There's a little side quest over here that you could do. And if you succeed, it's supposed to help you find Armag's tomb that much easier. The problem is that this quest is bugged. I was looking it up, I was reading about it, and it's bugged. So, I don't know if the quest is bugged out on me or if I just got really unlucky the last 5 or 6 times I went past this area. So, we're gonna do it again, see what happens. And if I just can't force it to appear, oh my god, there's so many fucking random encounters in here. Look at how many are on the board right now. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna go past it a couple more times and I'm gonna see what happens, but I'm certain that the game is either bugged out or this stupid fucking perception system that they use to make things appear is a really dumb idea. I mean, can we agree that it's a really dumb idea to lock people out of main missions by a perception check that you cannot see and don't even know is happening in the background? Can we all fucking agree to that? I saw somewhere on the internet that if you log out and log back in, then you'll be able to get this to appear. So I'm gonna exit, come back into the game, and see if that fixes it. If it doesn't, then I'm stuck. And honestly, I think this is where I'm gonna draw the line. Like, I'm not gonna force myself through this game anymore. So, we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've restarted the game. I'm back in. Let's see what happens.
I need to catch my breath.
No, it's just not gonna come up.
Time to search for the spot to rest.
No, it's just not gonna come up. Yep. The quest is either bugged out or I'm not actually supposed to do it yet. Either way, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, the game isn't telling me one way or the other if I'm supposed to be doing the mission now or not, so I really don't have much of a choice. The game's not leaving me a choice. I fucking quit. I give up. You win, game. You fucking beat me finally. You beat me the fuck down. Just like, I'm just so tired of fucking struggling against this game. Like, I just want to play the story mission. Stop making me do dumb shit. Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like I just took a giant shit. You know what I mean? You know how, like, when you just, like, all day you're sitting in your office and you can't leave the desk because you got to get stuff done, but you just got, like, a turd pressing against the small of your back, you know? And you're just like, oh my god, I gotta get the fuck out of here and, like, take care of this, but I gotta finish what I'm doing. And you finally take a shit and it just feels so good. That's what I feel like right now. I feel like I don't ever have to come back and play this game. You know, what is so perplexing about this is that, like I said, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, which is for most of the runtime of this game so far for me, When it's bad, it's terrible. It's absolutely shit. When I go on the internet and I go to Pathfinder, sorry, it's really late. It's like 2:20 in the fucking morning. And I look up reviews for this game. And I see that this game, in its current state, the way it is currently for me as I play it, right, is absolutely dog shit, right? And then I come here and I see a Metascore of 73 and a user score of 7.4. I can't help but say to myself, am I missing something? Like, am I missing something? I don't understand. Like, GameStar 86, GameSpace 80, PC Gamer gave it a 69, which, that's even high for me, man. If I was to rate this game, I would rate this game at like a 4, 4.5 maybe. I mean, there's just too much that's wrong with it. There's just way too much that's wrong with it. Too many frustrations. Too many systems that are tedious. Way too much tedium. Way too much tedium. Way too much time spent on that fucking map. Way too much time spent on that map. Way too many things completely left up to RNG. And way too many bugs. Game-breaking bugs, in fact. Like, bugs that you cannot fucking get past. Like, look at what happened to me. 60 hours into the game, and I can't proceed forward. And I'm not sure if it's the game that's broken, or that the quest designer who made that specific quest is waiting for some artificial timer to go off in the background. Either way, they're not telling me shit. And I'm left completely in the dark, just wandering the fuck around, trying to find shit to do in the meantime while I wait around for the main quest. Like, ask yourself, like, was Dragon Age Inquisition good? Was all of that tedious grinding and shit for power levels good? At the end of the day, when you put all of the quests together in Dragon Age Inquisition that were related to the story, was the game longer than 20 hours? No. And it's the same with this. If you took the world map out and you made it like a Baldur's Gate world map where you just click on the place you want to go and you fucking go there, right? And quests didn't take an artificial time limit to open up and there was no kingdom mechanic, how long would this game be? It'd be like 30, 40 hours maybe tops. All the other shit is just pointless. Man. And again, like, I look at these scores and I just go, what is it that I'm not understanding here? Like, it's giving me an existential crisis. Like, but then I look at the actual user scores and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. You know, the critics are mixed for the most part, right? But the user scores are just, like, insane. Like, 221 people thought that this game was a 10 or over an 8. Look how many 10s people were giving this game. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Why? What is a 10 about this? It's a perfect game? It's a perfect game, huh? Perfect? Huh. Well, you must have played a different game than me. You must have played a completely different fucking game than me. Because I had nothing but frustration, bugs, and bullshit. So at the end of the day, I just want to say to Alcat, you know, while I admire what you did, and I do, I mean, this was a huge undertaking that you undertook. I mean, converting that rule set into something that was playable is a feat unto itself. And there were genuinely some things that you did that I haven't seen a AAA studio do because they're afraid to do it. And while this sounds like I've just been nothing but negative, I want you to know, from me to you, that what you did is incredibly fucking impressive. I just hope that you see this and you decide that if you decide to do, you know, I don't know, Rise of the Rune Lords next?
That maybe you take the lessons from this game and then you poured over only the things that worked, which is the mission structure, the story, and some of the dialogue. I also hope that you strongly consider releasing mod tools for this, because seriously, this whole effort was incredibly impressive. The last time I've seen a direct port of the rule set like this was in Neverwinter Nights. Neverwinter Nights is, of all time, my favorite RPG, not because of the games that were released for it, but because of the mod scene, because of the DM tool set, because of the fact that I was playing Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 online with my friends for several years after that game was released. Because it was the online Dungeons & Dragons experience. And you guys managed to pull that off with your game. Now give us the tool set and let us do it. Seriously, please consider that. Because I know that this has been nothing but negative, but god damn it, what you guys managed to do is fucking impressive. There's just some things I'd like to see, quality of life things that I'd like to see, and I'd like to make my own in your fucking engine. I'll give you all of my money. Just please, consider releasing a tool set. Jesus, please, for the love of fucking God, please release a tool set. But anyway, if you sat through all that, well, I gotta tell you, you're a fucking trooper, and I appreciate your time. Hopefully I didn't waste it like this game wasted mine. And hopefully I saved you from wasting your time on this game. And if you watched this and you were like, you know what, this all looks like pretty fun to me, cool. Seriously. I don't want to, abuse your beliefs. Go right on ahead and play it. You might like it, right? But this just wasn't for me. This just was not for me. It was funny too, because the story was good. It actually pulled me in when it was working. But when it was bad, it was just... Anyway, I've said enough. This has been a rant from Strat-Edgy, and now that you heard it, go play some games.